Now Sweeney, Dwayne Sweeney! Sweeney's over!
Can you please hand it over to your captain, Dwayne Sweeney?
Welcome to Real Tales with Sweens, proudly brought to you by Fish City Hamilton. Fish City has been servicing the Waikato's fishing, boating and outdoor needs for over 30 years. And now, with the help of their online store, their great range of products and outstanding customer service are available across New Zealand. This episode, I sit down with Alex Waller, or as many of you may know him, the creator of New Zealand's leading fly fishing YouTube channel, Trippin on Trout. During this podcast, we discuss a very broad range of topics, such as fishing stock lakes as a kid and having to buy capture tickets from a vending machine lakeside, the special bond he had with his grandad over their shared passion for fly fishing, and coming to New Zealand to be a skydive instructor. We also discuss our addictive personalities and how we use fishing to channel this, the grounding influence fishing has been for him throughout his life, how important it is for mental health, using his YouTube channel to share knowledge and create awareness, dry fly fishing in the backcountry, and so much more. As always, the show notes will be available on the Real Tales with Sweens Instagram and Facebook pages, as well as the website realtaleswithsweens.com. Good George have a 15% discount available for all you listeners. Just use the discount code REALTALES before checking out of their online store. The link to their store is also available on the realtaleswithsweens.com homepage. Lastly, I want to say a special thank you to Alex for coming on and sharing your tale with us, mate. I am very appreciative of your openness and willingness to share, and it was an absolute pleasure to connect. So join me as we get to know the creator behind Trippin on Trout, Alex Waller. It was cool though.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I enjoyed it. It was had real good feedback from a lot of guys, friends of mine that like saltwater fish. And then they're like, oh, I get it. Like, okay, after listening to it, they're like, oh, okay, I can definitely...
I see why.
Yeah, you can get a better understanding. Yeah. And it was cool because all four of you are all so different, but share the same passion.
Same common thing, yeah.
Yeah, same common thing, but everyone has it their own little way.
Yeah, a little niche, Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, Jeff's he's a fishy dude, man. Like, he's a dude... You couldn't have a better person in that role. He's just he's so fishy. He's just like, he's done a lot of fishing in a lot of places, a lot of different ways, and he's just, I could catch up with him on like video messenger or whatever like that, and he'll just be like getting ready to go fish the next day, and he'll be like, oh yeah, just getting the boat ready, and he's in the barn, and there's just fishing rods and flies and lines and conventional stuff, and it's mad. Yeah, he loves it. And then he'll be up at 2:30, to go and drive 2 hours to go and explore a piece of water he doesn't know, and just, he loves it.
Yeah, he's like, for someone that has done so much, you'd think that sort of drive to go at 2 a.m. would probably waver a bit. You'd think, oh, I don't need to do that. But
I can't be asked.
Obviously, he needs to do it because he just loves it.
It's in him, eh?
Yeah.
So we were talking about, we were waiting for the food, It's that obsessive drive to do whatever it is that you choose to do.
Yeah, we've almost like started the podcast, really.
Just roll with it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so we're sitting here in Rod and Tackle in the beautiful Taupo.
Rod and Tackle, yeah.
Yeah, got Alex. There's probably not going to be a starting intro. I think we'll just roll with what we've already been chatting about. Some good content there, but... you'll probably recognise the voice. So Alex Waller, Trippin on Trout, is back again. So off the back of we were meant to do a podcast prior to us actually doing the introduction to fly fishing one, eh?
Yeah, it was supposed to be, I guess the only one, but then the other thing kind of randomly happened, which was really cool. We're just talking about that too, just 4 different people doing such different things with that one common love. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've had some really good feedback from that too. Like I was saying that earlier, that it might already be on here, but it's a lot of my friends that are saltwater fishermen sort of listen to that and
Conventional tackle guys.
yeah, conventional tackle guys, and then they're like, man, I get it now. Have a bit more of a sort of deeper understanding for, I guess, what goes into it, and then off the back of that, no doubt they've probably watched a fair bit of your stuff on YouTube and looked at Dion's Instagram and photos and that sort of thing. So yeah, there's it's definitely sparked a bit more interest. In
That's cool.
a few of
Sometimes
my
that's all
mates.
it takes, eh?
Yeah.
Just a little spark, and the next minute the whole forest is burnt down.
Mm.
and you're a bum on a river somewhere.
Yeah, well, that was, I suppose we talked about that earlier too, but that's what it was like for me. Like I've been keen to give fly fishing a go for so long, and yeah, almost like made excuses not to do it, you know, and then I waited till I was lucky enough to have Campbell, who we spoke about earlier, that had the selfie with you.
Shout out to Campbell.
Yeah, shout out to Campbell. You know, take me along, and it just broke the ice for me. And then once I got in there and did it, I was like, okay, it's not so scary.
Yeah, because it can be overwhelming. Like, where do you start? So that's why it's good that you had a good buddy like him that was willing to go, oh, cool, man, come with me. Because then, like you say, you got someone that can kind of hold your hand and like lead you into it a little bit, and then you can kind of go, oh, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
Because to start, I mean, where do you even start? It's hard. It's hard to kind of to even know what to do, where to go, who to ask. Like, it's
what to look at.
what to look at. Yeah.
What's that funny little smudge moving around in the water?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, even like I'm a big learner of watching as well. Like I learn quite a lot from watching people do things.
Yeah, I'm the same, eh?
And stuff like that. So I quite enjoy I enjoyed the winter fishing because you know, like it's not always nice when it's busy, but I learnt quite a lot from just watching other people and watching people do really well and like, oh, what are they doing? And
or do things really badly
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You're like, oh, that looks horrible. I don't think that's right.
Yeah. And then just watching that, and then you sort of see the people that are doing well and catching fish, and you sort of watch them, you're like, oh, okay. And then you sort of look a bit closer at the technique once you get an understanding. You're like,
like you can go, I could sit there for 5 minutes explaining like the ins and outs of how to do a water load. Or I can grab the rod and go, right, so you just do this, and then what you're thinking about here is you're coming through and do this, and then you can do it a couple of times. You go, oh, okay, I get what you're doing, and then you can jump in and like try and like, you know, mimic that.
yeah.
So it kind of takes both. I suppose you're trying to show somebody, and then like also explain why you're doing it like that, and then those two things combined, I find is a much easier way to learn. I'm the same as you, man. I'd rather just don't tell me. Just there's a rod. Just show me, and then I'll stand back and okay, cool. I see what you're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a very like I find too when I explain things, because I have a very vivid picture or feeling of what I'm trying to explain, and like I'll just use rugby as an example because that's what I know really well.
Yeah.
And then when I'm trying to explain it, I almost overcomplicate it too. And it's like, and then you just show somebody, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I get it."
Yeah, why don't you just say that?
Yeah, why don't you just say this? I'm like, oh, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So I don't have the vocabulary to kind of express what it is I'm trying to get across sometimes. Yeah, and then that way it's easy. Just do this.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, because like we were talking about earlier, like I'm self-taught, so a lot of the stuff I've just kind of worked out myself over the years. And then someone goes, "Well, what are you doing when you do that, or how do you do that?" And then I have to stop and go, "Hang on a minute, give me the rod," and I'll do it. And I've then got to stop and think, like, what am I doing here? Like, how do I? Oh yeah, okay. And then I think about it, and then I try and break it down and explain it to somebody because a lot of the stuff I just make it up.
Well, a good example of that is the people that follow you, or if you go and have a look, there's the Turbo Men, which you put up, and we talked about that today, and I was like, man, that's cool, you know, like visually, what looks wicked, but it's for a purpose. Can you just explain what that purpose is? Because there'd be some fly fishermen that have probably seen that and gone, oh, why would you use that?
Yeah. So first off, me and my buddy Stephen came up with that name. That's not the official name for it. It's just something we came up with. It's basically, if there's a piece of water in front of you where the flow goes over let's say over the back of the pool by the wall, and in front of you is like a big kind of slow eddy, like a washing machine going the other way. So if you just cast straight out, and then you land your flies and your indicator in the flow that is going from left to right, say, and then the water in front of you has that kind of back eddy, and if you lay your fly line on that, it's travelling right to left. So that is going to be giving you drag and pulling your flies as they're trying to drift naturally. So basically the turbo mend is just a way of trying to push the slack line that you need over the other side of the indicator into the flow, so it's all kind of over in the stuff going the same way.
Yeah, trying to get it like away from you.
Yeah, and whereas rather if you have the slack at your rod tip and the stuff that's going the opposite way, it's just going to give you problems. So yeah, you just kind of dump some line, and then you've got to try and punch it all the way up the fly line over the back of your indicator and chuck it over there. Yeah, it's a fun one to do. It's a tricky one to learn, but then once you've got it, it's real handy. Yeah, it's just a way of putting your fly line way out the back of your indicator where you need it to be, rather than at your rod tip giving you problems. Yeah. But yeah, just little things like that.
And that's you self-taught yourself that?
I don't even know anymore. I don't know. I don't even know. Somebody probably showed me, maybe, or I saw it, or I don't even know. To be honest, maybe I did make it up. Yeah. It's just kind of just something that's over the years I just started doing. Yeah, but it's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, because I could kind of see that with fly fishing, because like I'm trying to learn how to do things, and it's sort of something that you naturally start trying to try. You just try things because you're like, okay, I feel like I need that line to go that way.
I need that to be over there.
Yeah, but
how do I get it over there?
You don't necessarily know how to do it, so you just give it a crack.
Around a bit.
Yeah, you sort of muck around. You're like, oh yuck, that didn't work.
that wasn't it.
Like, oh, that worked.
I don't know what I did there, but that was good. I need to try and recreate that again. Yeah. And that's what a lot of it is, like, nothing beats time on the water, eh? Like, nothing. You can watch videos, you can ask people, you can talk about it, you can think about it, you can read articles, but you have to get on the water and just mess around. You know, I could sit here and, like, pull to pieces the finer points of mending, but you need to go out there and do it yourself and create that muscle memory and that and those mind muscle connections and that kind of thing, and then, you know, ingrain that in you. And the only way to do that is just lots of time on the water. Yeah, there's no substitute for that.
Nah.
You just got to go out there and do it again and again and again.
Yeah, and then you've got the factor that they store fish and they choose not to eat sometimes.
That's how it goes, eh?
Or they eat it and spit it out.
Yeah, that's right. Or they eat it, you don't even know about it. Or, you know, you try those things and you spook that fish or whatever, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Another thing I think is really good is, even if you say you have a shot at a fish and you mess it up and the fish spooks and goes away, is just stand there for another few minutes and practice what it is you were trying to do till you get it. And it's almost like drills.
Yep.
And with rugby and that kind of stuff, you'll just drill.
Yeah.
You'll just drill certain movements or whatever until it's just part of, like, what you do. Yeah. You know, so you go do a cast and you go, fuck, I messed it up. Well, then just pretend that fish is still there and then just drill the cast you were trying to do, so you can kind of get that muscle memory going. Or you fish a piece of water and then you just go, before I go, I'm just gonna do 5 minutes and just practice whatever, my turbo mend or water loading or, you know, roll casting, just anything. Yeah, it's a good thing to do before you leave a piece of water. I'm just gonna roll this, just gonna do this for a bit, and then you go into the next piece of water, carry on fishing. But that way you're kind of adding in some training almost throughout your day. Yeah, I still do it now. I'll mess up a fish and I'll just sit there and go, bah, and then I'll just do a couple more casts. That's the one I should have done. That's the drift. And then crack on.
Yeah, and it's also good for your, like, self-confidence.
I can do it. I know I can.
You're like, I'm not useless.
Yeah, well, I am. I couldn't do it before, but I know I can do it. I'm capable of that. Yeah.
But there's nothing like that pressure of getting it right when it needs to be right.
Especially when you can see the fish.
Yeah, that was really cool. I enjoyed that today. So I was lucky enough to go for a fish with Alex today, and I've obviously only just started fishing and done a lot of, all my fishing's been in the winter, and we're now coming into spring and heading into summer.
Yeah.
And then the water was a lot lower and clearer.
Crystal
today.
clear. It was like summer levels today.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, seen a number of fish and.
Yeah, Christian, your new rod, your new Recon was a 6-weight?
Yeah, the 6-weight.
Yeah, first one on a dry dropper.
Yeah.
Sight fished.
Yeah.
It was a pretty hectic couple of hours, really.
Yeah, it was. It was really enjoyable. I learnt a lot. Like I wasn't expecting to be the only one fishing.
I was happy. I was just enjoying the vibe, man. It was good. I mean, I had my rod. I just didn't. I'm happy just fishing with you, you know.
Yeah. No, it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, and a few different. No, we did some sight fishing. We did some dry dropper stuff. Then we changed over to a nymph rig. Still sight fishing, but then just kind of changing the rig to the situation.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. No.
Some nice water loading in there from your winter training.
Yeah, all that time on the Hindi Mire.
Yeah, the training ground.
The training ground. For you, like when did fly fishing all start? Like
About. So I was born in the UK, and then so I've fished since I was like, I don't know, like young, 5, 6 maybe. I think there's pictures of me like on family holidays fishing, but that's not fly fishing, that's course fishing, which course fishing is basically fishing for, in England, it's fishing for species other than game fish like trout and salmon, so carp, tench, roach, rudd, pike, gudgeon, whatever, everything else. It was bait fishing basically.
Yeah.
So I did that up until 11 or 12 maybe, and then my granddad. So I was fishing with my granddad a lot, and then he went out one afternoon with a friend of his. I don't know who it was, and his friend took him to this local reservoir, stocked reservoir, and took him fly fishing. And he came home just fizzing, just pumped, and he was like, "Alex, we got to do this fly fishing thing," and we had no idea what to do, how to do it. But I remember we got bought like a one-piece rod. Well, I didn't buy it. He bought me a one-piece rod and himself one, and then it was just in the back garden, just flapping around, you know. I mean, and back then, I'm going to show my age now, it was like we were talking before. No internet, no YouTube, no social media, no nothing. So unless you knew somebody, you might be able to find a magazine article, or like there was a paper called the Angling Times that would come out, but that was mainly course fishing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But that was the only place you could gain your information from. Like you might get a magazine and you could read an article and then just try and take that and put that into some kind of practice, you know. But there was a lot of messing around, a lot of fluffing around and just getting nowhere. But pretty much once, I don't even remember the first fish I caught. It would have been on some stocked lake somewhere. But I do know that from the moment I started doing that, I didn't want to fish any other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that was pretty much us then. And then even though, like for a few years there in my early 20s, we kind of went to the dirtbag route and just kind of went away from fishing. I always came back to fish with Grandad, and that was kind of like that grounding thing throughout my whole life. And then once I kind of sorted my life out a little bit, I kind of picked it back up again, and then really ran with it, especially when I got here in like 2003. I'd never fished a river before I came here, not fly fishing. Well, because back in the UK, it was all rivers were privately owned.
Oh, okay.
And you got to have cash, son. Got to have cash
to get in there.
Yeah, you got to know people. You got to be on the right, syndicate or whatever. Then you got to have money to pay, however many thousands of pounds a year to join. And then you might have like a mile of a certain river that you could then potentially fish. Yeah, and we weren't cashed up, so it was all we call them put and take fisheries. So you have to keep everything you catch. There's no catch and release in these lakes.
Oh, okay.
But they stock them.
Yeah.
So you and I would rock up, and we go, cool. We're gonna go fishing, and they'd have it's almost like a vending machine, and it would take pound coins. Mm-hmm. So you come up with a pocket full of pound coins that you've had to go and get changed before you go. And you turn up and it might be like, let's say, £12 for like a 4-fish ticket.
Yeah.
So you put your £12 coins in, press the button, and you get your 4-fish ticket. And that means you can catch 4 fish, but you have to keep 4 fish.
Oh, yeah.
You can't put them back. Then once you've caught your 4 fish, you either stop fishing or you go get another ticket. So you might catch 4 fish in 20 minutes, and then you either stop fishing or you go get another ticket, or it might take you all day or whatever. But that's kind of the only fishing we had available to us, and it was all kind of like standing on the edges, stripping like woolly buggers and stuff like that. It wasn't really so much like dry fly dropper or sight fishing or any of that good stuff. So, but what it did mean was, I never liked killing fish, but it meant that you had to kill fish if you wanted to fish.
Yeah.
Which I always had a problem with. But, I'd take them back and would eat some of them, and then a lot of them went into the freezer. Grandad would give away as much as he could, but then it would ultimately mean that there was generally fish in the freezer, got freezer burnt, spoilt, thrown away. So, and maybe that goes a long way towards why I won't keep fish anymore. Maybe it stems from just that needless killing.
Yeah.
I never liked it. But
so do you eat them at all?
No,
Trout?
No, I don't particularly like the taste of trout, and I want to spend a moment with it and watch it swim off. That's my buzz. Yeah. I've got no interest in keeping them at all. I've got nothing against people keeping them from a fishery that can sustain it. That's cool, but I just don't. It's not my thing. I don't want to do it.
I find there's more people that don't than do that. What in terms of the people I know, that are into the sport, there's a lot more that, pretty much
into catch and release.
Yeah,
and
most
that
of
kind
the,
stuff.
like everyone I go with, they let most of them go. It's all just for sport. They
Yeah.
might keep the odd one here and there, but
No, like I say, nothing against it.
Yeah.
If it's done respectfully and quickly, and with the minimum amount of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say fuss, but just as long as the respect is there, dispatch it quickly, cleanly.
Yeah.
And
then it's utilised, right?
Yeah, and then you use it, Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
And then also, if you're going to keep fish, thinking about what you're going to keep, like hunting, being selective. If it's a 9 pound brown or something like that, or 9 pound anything really, maybe don't keep that fish. That's your big breeding fish. So you want that to go back and carry those genes on. Your better eating fish is going to be like a 2 or 3 pound chrome rainbow out the lake. That's going to taste good. It's the right size to take. You're not kind of impacting on those big breeding fish, that kind of thing. So kind of being selective. I think that's really important. And also where you are fishing. So any of these local rivers that run into the lake, it can sustain you taking fish out of it. But then you let's go to some, I don't know, remote headwater tributary where there might be like 1 fish every 600 meters, and that's it. Well, you rock up and you catch one and you bang that on the head, and then we go to the next pool and then I do the same thing. All of a sudden there's a K1/2 or so with no fish in it. Don't take long to wreck a fishery, So then kind of thinking about where you are, what you're doing, and that sort of stuff. I think that's super important.
And that type of fishing too, that fish is not really going to be in good condition if you're going to take it out.
It'd be horrible.
Yeah, by the time you get out.
Stinking hot day, and then you've had a 3-hour walk out, and you've caught that fish in the morning. You're not going to eat that fish.
No.
It's horrible. And then you've just taken the one fish out of there that's potentially going to breed and carry on that strain of fish. There's no lake at the bottom of it for other fish to come out and replace it. Those things are pretty fragile. Some of those streams,
Yeah. You talked about the fishing being your like grounding factor. Like, going back and being with Grandad.
Yeah.
Like talking to you today and like fishing today, and I think about myself personally as well. Like I'm very similar. Like I find it really good for my mental health to do things like going fishing and and going hunting, and it's not even about shooting something or killing a fish to eat it.
Yeah.
Like we didn't kill any fish today.
No.
And I haven't kept the trout all winter.
Yeah.
And like that, it's not about that. It's about actually being out there, being present in the fishery, enjoying the outdoors.
It's interesting. You've probably come across it already, but like if sometimes you'll end up talking to somebody that doesn't fish, and then when you tell them that you don't keep the fish, they look at you like
You're a weirdo.
yeah, there's something really wrong with you, eh? Like, just, well, what are you doing, you idiot? Why are you even out there? Like, what's the point? And yeah, it's, and I think definitely as I get older, it's more about the experience than the fish I'm trying to catch. Don't get me wrong, I want to catch some fish, but that's fine. But I don't have to catch every fish. And I don't have to even catch fish all the time. But just going out there and messing around and, you know, bumbling around on the river, you see some cool stuff. We saw Theo today, that kind of thing, you know, just all that kind of stuff just kind of builds the picture and the experience as a whole, you know. I can happily walk all day for one fish, that's cool. But if it's a fish that I can see and I can, you kind of hunt it, you find it, you kind of drop back, you watch it, you kind of pick a strategy, you rig up, kind of get in position, and then you kind of, like with the sight fishing we were doing today, like you do something and you can see that fish react accordingly to what you do, and I really enjoy that kind of that side of it. And you know, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. It's all good. Yeah. And if you don't get them, you walk away and you go, oh, okay, I know what I should have done. Yeah, I'll be better next time.
Yeah, I learnt a lot today about like taking your time too, because you get there and you're like,
it's fish.
You get that little flutter, you know, you're like, oh, it's a fish.
Let's go.
But it's like, you take that time, you get set, and it's so much better for when you're trying to cast. You've taken that little bit of time, the adrenaline's out of the body.
Chill
you
out,
can just like chill, and you can be a bit smoother. And
like I said, if it's a happy fish, you ain't going anywhere.
Nah.
If you don't know you're there and he's happy, you got time. You know, he's going to be sitting there doing his thing. That's all good. You know, and then you might even, while you're taking your time and you're setting up and you're watching, you might even see him do some stuff. Like, oh, okay, he keeps moving out to the left and eating. So I probably want to try and make my first cast on his left-hand side, because that's where he's been going to eat. Or every now and then he might drop back down, do a beat. You know, kind of drop back down, and he'll come back up, and you go, okay, well, if I stood there straight away, he would have seen me in and be off. So little things like that. You got no rush. You got time. Yeah, that was good. And like you say, it gives you kind of time to just just chill, chill. Especially if it's a good fish, man. I still get it now. You get the old big fish shakes, and you're trying to tie your fly, and you're like, come on, sort it out.
Talking about big fish, a number of the listeners would have seen already, but the clip you put up of the big brown that you got, and can you just share that story? Like, we've spoken about it today, but I want to hear it again anyway. But just the kind of journey to hooking that fish and then landing it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I said earlier, like it was a really interesting situation, because there was a big boulder that we came across, me and my buddy Mike, and we were walking up the edge, and there was this big boulder on the edge of the river, and then in front of that we saw like probably 4 or 5 smaller fish, so around that kind of 5-6 pound range, and they're all kind of like just kind of hanging out next to this little kind of seam, and in front of them, we're like, okay, cool. We'd walked all day basically, only had a couple of fish, so I was like, cool, okay. So I got in behind the boulder, started fishing to a couple of these fish, nothing was happening, so I was doing a fly change, and then I'm looking down, I was changing my fly, and then I just heard Mike over my shoulder go, what the fuck is that? And I looked up, and I looked in front of this boulder, and it looked like the few fish that were there when I looked down had just kind of morphed together into one big fish. And there was just this thing, it was huge, man. It looked wrong. And it was just this fish just sitting in front of this boulder. And I was like, where did that come from, man? He goes, I don't know, man. I just looked down, I looked up, and it was there. So I watched it for a bit, and I changed my fly. And then what was happening was the fish would kind of hang out for a bit, and then he would drop back sideways against the front of the rock, and then wedge himself against and underneath the rock, the front of the rock, and wrap himself around it and just disappear. And then like it's almost like he was just like, oh, I'm gonna have a rest, and just wedge himself under the rock. And that's why we hadn't seen him when we got there. And then like the other few fish would kind of drop back out the fast water and get into position. and just kind of sit there, eat a couple of things, and then like he'd get almost annoyed, and he'd push himself back out and just kind of push them all off, and he'd sit there in front of the rock for a couple of minutes. So I was fishing to him, and I couldn't get him to look at my flies. Changed over a couple more times, and then just that happened probably 3 or 4 times. And then, another fly change, and then he kind of came out. I waited for him to come back out because I knew he was there now. So just waited. I knew he was going to come out. So it's that kind of taking your time thing again.
Yeah.
Just wait. He'll come. And then he came back out, pushed the other fish off, settled in front, popped him in there, couple of drifts, and then just saw him just kind of just twitch left a little bit, and then I just lifted, and then that's when you see him just come out the water like a tarpon, and then just thrashing and then dropping back downstream, and then it was just probably 5 or 6 minutes of just chaos. Up and down that little thing. He got himself kind of wedged under like an undercut bank under some tree roots. So we kind of dropped back down, then he pushed up, and then he kind of went in under, and I was just like, it goes from that kind of, you can feel a fish on the end to that just solid. And I was just like, oh no, it's solid, and I was like, that's it. But I only had a single fly on, so I knew it wasn't caught up on another fly, but it was I thought it was just in the snags. And Mike was like, I can see him, he's in these snags, just change your angle. So I came up, I walked upstream of the fish, and then tried to just move the angle, because the line was going down around one of the tree roots and then to the fish. So I just tried to get above the fish, and then I felt something give. And I was like, oh, he's off. And then he goes, no, and it was just him. It was just that dropping off the root. And then he just started. Then he kind of rolled out, and then it was all back on, and we kind of ran downstream. And then the interesting was, Mike's net was one of those McLean nets. You know the McLean nets. And so he had that on his pack, and then he grabbed his net off his pack, and then the handle just came off. And those nets are kind of renowned for doing that, like where they join. There's a little nut and bolt. And I've lost a couple of nets they've just popped off. That's why I stopped using them. So he did that, and the handle just came off, and the net was. So he had to try. He was running back down, trying to put the net together. But when he did that and pushed the handle back on, he didn't realise that it went through the netting. Some of the netting, so it effectively basically halved the depth of the net. So that's why when he went to net it, he nets it, and then it just literally, he scoops it, nets it, and it just flops out. And I was just like, oh no, watching this is just going to pop off. And then he just kind of like bear hugged it, and then netted it, and then just kind of just picked everything up in his arms and ran into the side of the bank. And then everything just kind of calmed down a bit there, and it was just one of those moments where just it shouldn't have worked out, but just lucky.
The more you do though, the luckier you get.
Better to be lucky than good, man.
But it's a little bit like, I talked about it in the last podcast, but like the universe is currency, you know, like you do the time, and moments, because we talked about that today too, like you remember more fish that you lost
than you ever caught.
Like the big ones, because you're like, oh man, that could have been something special, you know.
What was that?
And it stands out to you.
It does.
So it's like you have those moments, and you have a number of those before you get that one where it all actually goes your way.
A lot of things have to come together unless it's exceptionally lucky. For sure. That was without, I would categorically say that's probably the brown trout of my life. I don't think I'll top that, and that's fine. I'll keep trying. Don't worry, I'll keep trying. But I don't think I'll top that. That's like 30 plus years of angling, and I put more time than the average person in. You know, so it's just it's awesome, man. I still occasionally I'll watch like the whole thing back, because I've got it all on camera. I haven't done anything with that footage yet. I'm gonna do something with it, but I don't know what. And it just gives me goosebumps. It was such a good fish. And again, you have a moment, you look after it, you treat it well with respect, and then swims off strong. He's still swimming around out there. That's awesome. Hopefully getting bigger. You never know.
You never know.
It's super cool, man. So I guess all that stemmed from just that little boy messing around with a fishing rod. I never kind of never did much socially. Like even as a kid, I didn't have a lot of friends. Moved around quite a bit when I was a kid, so it was always like the one thing I could do wherever I went on my own. And then I can't remember like summer holidays and stuff like that. I get my BMX and I'd get my fishing rod and I'd like tie it to the, to the frame,
Yeah.
rucksack on, and you'd be gone in the morning. And then as long as I was home by dark, that was fine. So I just, I'd cycle 5-10 miles to like a little lake, mess around in that lake all day, and then as long as I'm home by dark, it's all good. Back in those days, where you just, gone all day, no mobile phones. You don't I'm going to the lake tomorrow, Mum. Okay, be back by dark, and then that's what I do all summer.
Yeah, well, because we talked about that earlier too. We talked about a lot earlier.
Yeah, we covered some stuff.
Yeah, it generally happens when you go fishing. Yeah, but like the world before the internet, like we grew up in that. So and we talked about it today. Like even today, I had some stuff on this morning, so I was running a little bit late, but. If we had organised it yesterday when we had to ring off the phone off the wall
attached to the house,
and I was like, I'll meet you at the shop at 12, you would have been waiting here for an hour before I got here.
Yeah, that's right.
And you might have gone.
I probably would have given you 15 minutes and like, well,
I'm going
I'm
fishing.
out.
Yeah. And then I would have been running up and down the Tongariro trying to find you.
Yeah, it's different days, eh? Like I said, it's the day where I'd have my bike, and that's how I got around. And I'd be like, I'm going fishing, and I'd go to a lake on my own, and I'm like, this is when I'm like 12, 13 years old, maybe younger, but just go, and it was just okay. It was fine. Yeah, that's all I did, out every day, messing around on a lake somewhere, and then just go home and go out the next day and do it again. Yeah, it all just stems from that, and I get the same buzz. Especially I'm going on a cool trip or something like that. Like I love the prep. I love putting everything together, packing, and then I'll set my alarm, then I'll set a backup, and then a backup, and then generally I'm awake before the first alarm anyway. And I get up, and it's that same buzz as being a 12-year-old, just pissing around in a river, making camp, sleeping out like in a tent, making a fire. Except now you get like big boy toys, and you could smoke a cigar and drink some whiskey.
Yeah. And you get to cast the Helios.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Nah, it's just those wholesome things sort of seem to be becoming less and less in the younger generation. Eh? Like, I'm trying to really instill it into my boys, and it's actually been quite interesting because it hasn't had to be forced. They've wanted to come because it's what Dad did, but then I sort of thought, I'll get them out there and they'll be like all good for an hour or two, and then they'll be like, Dad, can we go home? But they've actually been into it all day. That's and I've been like actually really surprised by that. But what I do take out of that is it must be in our DNA and in our nature as humans to want to be in that scenario.
It's got to go back to that hunter-gatherer stuff, right? When, like you said, you had to hunt and fish to live every day, right? And I feel like it definitely taps into that.
Because it feels normal. It doesn't feel foreign.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, some of the skills take a bit to learn, but it doesn't feel foreign.
No, I wonder if that's the same for everybody though.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've guided some people, and I've gone away like, just dude, you're not meant to fish. You do not belong on a river at all. And it might prove me wrong. I'm sure they've never fished a game, but some people like just pick things up like real quick, and you're just like, you're a natural at this. And some people you're just like, you don't belong on a river. And I'm sure it might be the same for other things, but I think it's definitely at a, like the same as like if when you camp and you build a fire, there's nothing. You just want to sit there into the dark and just poke that fire with a stick and move things around and put another stick on and watch it burn. That's got to be the same thing, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
Has to be.
Bush TV.
Yeah, Bush TV, exactly. Yeah, why is that so satisfying to do? Probably because we did it like millions of years ago.
Yeah, and obviously some people are that way because my oldest boy, Cooper, both of them actually, they love lighting the fire at home. Great. That's all they want to do. They just want to light the match and light the newspaper or
just tap
the
into
fire
something
lighter.
there,
like
right?
they just, and I'm like, are they either either they're going to love the outdoors or they're going to be arsons.
That's right, you're going to jail.
Yeah, and I was like, maybe I need to channel this and take them camping so that they don't just go and try and burn down houses or something.
Burn down some empty shops somewhere.
Yeah, but it's on the same though. When I was a kid, I loved fire.
Yeah, still do.
Yeah,
I was the same, mate. We used to build Gran and Grandad's place, have an open fire. I'll go chop the kindling. I'll go chop the wood and I'll build it, and then I just want to get that fire going.
Yeah, it's real satisfying, the sound of fire
Same
too.
now, man. Once you've built camp, you go around, you take the time, you find your small sticks, you find your tinder, you find your your medium sticks, and then your bigger logs. Then you kind of get them all, pile of that, and then you get that going, and you go, okay, everything's in place.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
It's happening.
You're like a real process-driven person too, eh? Like I'm
Yeah.
the same, and like we talked about it. I've mentioned it heaps on this podcast too with other people, but I find a lot of all the guests that I've had that have been successful in anything, they have a streak of like OCD in them. Like they have they enjoy a process and they love getting it right.
Got to channel the beast, eh?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because I've got an addictive personality. Like if I'm into something, it's boots and all.
That's
like,
it.
Yeah.
I'm all
just
in.
like fly fishing, I started it and then I'm like, oh shit.
This is what I do now.
Yeah. Now I'm wearing my waders downtown.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a good way, if you have that about you. It's a good way to channel the obsessive thing or the addictive thing, and put it into something
wholesome.
Yeah, something positive, because it can go a very negative way. Like I was saying, like I can feel I had it real bad when I was a kid, and then even now I can know how to channel it now. But then even now, if things are going bad and I'm stressed, I can feel those old negative kind of OCD things creeping back in. And so it's a very good way to kind of keep that out. If I can't fish, man, I go a bit weird, a bit loopy in my head, eh? A bit wonky up there sometimes.
Yeah, like idle minds, like dangerous.
Yeah,
like, I
think
reckon.
so.
I'm the same. Like I have to be kind of active and thinking about things, and then when I'm not, I definitely
when bad things happen.
Yeah, I just don't feel like I'm
right.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm gonna do something stupid or whatever. And around the addictive personality thing, like I know I've got it and I know that's why I had a rugby career that I did.
And you took it where you took it, right?
Yeah, because that's where I channeled it, and I wanted to get shit right, and I like trained my ass off and wanted to master skills, wanted to learn the game, wanted to manipulate things and whatever. And
that's what makes you good, though, right?
Yeah, and that's what sort of drove me to be good, and that's what I enjoyed about it. But then that's why I don't gamble, because I know that I've got something in me, and if I go down that rabbit hole, I probably won't come back. So like I'll go if I go to the races or whatever, I'll put a few bets on, and that's all good. And I've got nothing against like people that gamble; that's their choice. But I just know personally, I can't
handle it.
I don't think I can channel myself with that, because it wouldn't take much for me to go, I know how to do this now. Or to think I
put
know
the
how
house
to
on
do
it.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh shit. Oh yeah, sorry, babe.
Got something to tell you.
Yeah, but that's what like you said, it's that channeling it, and
I don't know. Maybe that's something that. Do you think that's something you've learnt to do over years, or does somebody kind of guide you or tell you, or do you work it out for yourself?
I think I worked it out
for
myself, because I don't remember anyone saying like, you've got a problem.
You need to do this.
Yeah, but I think I just kind of felt it, like.
Yeah.
And then I would sort of gravitate towards things that would consume my time.
I think I was the same. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Because even at a young age, I think you're aware of where it can go negatively. And I think you know that's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so I guess I wonder, you kind
But
of...
I suppose if you're in the wrong environment, though, you don't know it's not healthy.
Yeah, that's
But I
true.
think I was lucky that I had a good upbringing and was in like in a really
Stable
good environment,
kind of, yeah.
good friends, good families around me. My parents were awesome. Extended family were awesome, all in the sort of heading in what we would call the right track or right direction. So I kind of knew when things weren't, it's like, well, I probably shouldn't do that, but
Mm.
I could easily be tempted to
Yeah.
go down that road, and because it
Your moral
kinda
compass
looked fun.
was switched on.
Yeah. But
That's lucky.
I think with my personality and what I'm like, if I was not in the right environment, I'd be a very, very different
Could be in the
person.
mob right now.
Yeah.
that
No,
kind
I
of-
would.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would.
You go, you
Yeah.
go back. Yeah, I wonder if it kind of started to you started to kind of channel it in a good direction because it quietened things down in your head, or whether it was a conscious sort of thing. Is like this, I can't remember. Could you know for you? Nah.
All I know is that when I'm passionate about something, I don't, like, if I get into, like, rugby's, I keep going back to rugby, but it's what I know, what I'm
that's your thing,
passionate about, and same with, and fishing's the same. But if I get with my teammates,
Yep.
like, we'll talk until the sun comes up
Yeah.
about how we could have done this, let's try this, what about that? And
Strategize.
and it's just like, I love it, and I love trying to work it all out and process it and bounce ideas off other people.
Yeah.
So I think just, I guess, being around other people, I realised that's what I wanted.
And then all the bad stuff goes away.
I didn't have time for anything else to creep
I think
in.
that's probably how it started as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because pretty much whatever I've chosen to do, I've just gone, like you
All
say,
in.
like you, all in. Yeah. Whether it was bodybuilding, skydiving, and that sort of thing, and training, fishing, just it's all sort of like, there's not like, I'm just gonna I might do that on the weekend. Nope. This is me now. This is what I do.
Yeah. If the sun's up, I'm doing it.
That's it. Maybe if it's down, I'm gonna give it.
Yeah, if it's down and I can do it, even better. Yeah, because skydiving, did that bring you to New Zealand?
Yeah,
when you came?
that's why I came here originally.
Yeah.
Was to work up at Taupo Airfield to do tandems. But I started, I learnt to skydive in the States, but then I was kind of fun jumping and stuff in the UK. That was kind of at the end of my kind of dirtbag clubbing time period, where I was going down a very bad path. So then I just ended up going and just basically leaving. Went to the drop zone one weekend and then just never went back to where I was living at the time.
Oh yeah.
And I just said, right, I want a job here. And they were like, well, there isn't one. I was like, well, I'm going to be sleeping on somebody's floor so that when a job comes up, I want it. And they were like, okay. So I just kind of made that work, just doing odd jobs and stuff like that, and just packing parachutes and stuff just to get jump tickets and just to be there for, I did maybe like 4 or 5 months, and the job came up, and then I was just doing whatever, emptying bins, packing parachutes and whatever needed to be done while I got my jump numbers up, and then got my instructor's rating, and then coaching rating, and then got my jump numbers up, and then came here, started doing tandems, and did that for like 10 years. Yeah.
And it was going really well when you were doing that here, eh?
When I turned up in Taupo, it was like the third biggest tandem operation in the world, pretty much. Yeah, it was massive. Yeah, when I turned up, there was like 3 drop zones on the airfield, and they were just cranking. Like summertime was just crazy. It was mental, eh? It was good. It was a good time. It was a good time. I don't regret that at all.
No.
Yeah, it was a good time. And it got me to New Zealand, got me my residency, which got me my citizenship, and best thing I ever did, man.
Yeah, because you said it helped you because of was a skilled.
Yeah, on the occupational shortage list as a skilled migrant, when I came in, tandem master was like right up there.
Yeah.
Because there was just no Kiwi tandem masters.
Yeah.
And
it's a popular.
Oh, it's huge.
A popular, I guess, tourist
tourism
Or
industry.
even, in New Zealand
Everybody
too.
New Zealand, and I remember when I first kind of started reading about New Zealand, it was like the adventure capital of the world. You go to New Zealand, you do whitewater rafting, you do bungee jumping, you do skydiving, you do hiking, and it's still everyone was coming here to do that. So summertime.
Taupo's a great place for it too. Eh? It's all here.
And then, even if people are just coming through, we're bang in the middle of the North Island. So if you're coming from north, you're coming south to go to the South Island, you come through Taupo. And if you're going north from the South Island, you come through Taupo. So everybody was coming through. Yeah, there's a lot.
It services that kind of industry all year round too, right? Like winter, summer.
Yeah,
it
you
just
got everything.
Cranks.
Yeah, it does. Hey, it's stupid busy now.
Yeah, and it'll be good to see like the tourism numbers come back up.
Yeah,
We've
but
started to notice a few more.
But to be fair, even through like other than the lockdowns, through the whole COVID thing, like this place was mental. Just I guess everybody getting out of the city and getting away for the weekend or whatever. Taupo's a pretty popular place for that. People got holiday homes. There's Airbnbs. Got the lake. You've got stuff to do and hikes and fishing and hunting and whatever. It's a place, or even just to come and hang out by the lake, sit on the beach, swim, bring the family, bring the dog, whatever. Like it's a pretty cool place to be.
Yeah,
and it's so central. You get 2 hours from the East Coast, 2 hours from the West Coast. You're 5 hours from Wellington, 3.5 from Auckland, an hour and a half from Hamilton. Like you just
2 hours to Tauranga.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's
pretty much bang in the centre. Yeah,
and
it's beautiful. I love it here. It's super cool, and especially if you do stuff like we like to do, go outside. Anything outside here is good.
Yeah. As New Zealanders too, like since COVID, we've actually started utilising what we have on our own back doorstep a lot more. I think, I definitely took it for granted, but I had the loss of it when I went to Japan. So I've noticed, a lot of my friends and stuff making more time for their passions and things like fishing and stuff since COVID, because they're like, up until then, they were, work was such a big focus and their career and then it was sort of all put on hold. It's like, well, actually what's really important is being with my family and friends and enjoying life. And when you can't go for a fish and you can't go for a hunt, or you can't even,
can't go on
for
a holiday or
whatever, then you realise like how much you actually miss it. And that was me, because I go to Japan and I'm like, man, all I want to do is go fishing. But when I was in New Zealand leading up to going, I'd almost got to a point where I was taking it for granted.
Yeah, I can't be bothered.
Yeah. So no, we'll just go.
I might be a bit windy now. Screw it. I'll go.
Yeah. But then when I was over there and I just longed for it, and then come home and that's all I would do.
Yeah.
The whole off season. Yeah, I'll be doing that. And then, I definitely noticed the big difference just in my immediate circle of people that when it got taken away.
Have that option taken away from you, then all of a sudden you realise quite how important that is, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't deal with that well at all.
Nah.
I just did not like being stuck and not being able to go and
Yeah.
I guess it's one thing to go, I don't feel like it today, but then to be told you can't.
No matter what.
You can't do it. All of a sudden, it's just like, whoa.
Humans don't be like told they can't do something.
No. Yeah, it makes me want to do it more.
Yeah.
Just because you said that I can't do it.
Yeah, it's funny, because you have having my boys, like having kids, and it's almost like you just don't say that they can't do it and they won't. But if you like, don't touch that, like 100% they're gonna go touch it.
Why?
Yeah. It's like, what?
You're about to learn what hot is.
Yeah. So where's some of the places that fishing's taken you around the world?
So I've done. I haven't. It's funny. Like I spent most of my time since I got here just working out in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then I did. Maybe 5 years ago, I did a 3-month stint guiding in Bolivia for Dorado. I was up there for like.
Is that cool?
It's awesome. They're mad fish, man. They're like a cross between a dinosaur and a pit bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they're awesome fish. They're super aggressive. They look like a gold bar. Like the colours are just amazing. And then they have the head, this just short, thick head with this incredible like pound per square inch jaw power.
Yeah.
And they look like the teeth and the jaw just looks like a pit bull. Like if you get your finger in there, you will lose your finger.
Oh yeah.
Like they're mental. And then just an incredible bite strength. And then we were up in a tributary of the Amazon, but like way up, like as high as up that thing as you can pretty much go. And the only people up there are like the odd Chimani tribe that live up that way, and like we were kind of doing some work with. They were kind of our crew, and we were working with them. But like these fish get up there and they chase. There's these fish called a sabalo, which is just this fish that push up and they go up there to spawn, and the Dorado kind of cruise up there following them, and then they'll just kind of. That's obviously their food source. But like these fish are so clever, man. Like most of them haven't seen people before, and yet you could still swing a fly in front of them, and if it's not right, you'll see these fish come off and they'll look at it and they'll be like, nah, and that will be it. They're like almost like a brown trout.
Oh yeah.
If it's not right on the first, nah, and they'll sit there and they'll shut down, and they won't look at another thing. So it's either you get it right on the first go, or that's your lot. And then sometimes you'll just be sitting there watching a pool, kind of like we were doing for trout. Just sit, just give it some time. We'll watch. We'll look, kind of looking. Then all of a sudden you'll see like 3 of them just kind of cruise downstream, down the inside, just cruising, real gangster. Yeah. And there'll be a whole shoulder sabalo over there. Yeah. And they'll just kind of come down and they'll skirt around, and the sabalo will kind of move away, and then it's just kind of cruising around. And then just all of a sudden, like someone's flicked a switch, all of a sudden you'll just see the sabalo just start to move real quick, and then these things will just light up, and there'll just be this fucking shark attack in the shallows, and there's just fins and teeth and blood and shit, and they'll just fucking go in there and just rip a heap of them to pieces, and then it'll calm down, and then you'll see them cruising again, just cruising around. They're awesome, man. They're onto it. They're really clever fish. They're super aggressive. They look amazing, and they're just... Yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed the jungle too. Jungle was worth it. Always wondered what I'd be like in a jungle. Used to read a lot of books and shit about like SAS training and stuff like that, and they always had that jungle phase of selection. And I'd always like to go to the jungle. And not that I'm saying it was anything like selection, but I did enjoy the jungle. Like it was a pretty intimidating place. Like we ain't supposed to be there at all. Everything there wants to kill you. Yeah. Bite you, sting.
Is it big water? Like you?
Nah, it was no. The main river was pretty big. I'd say it was probably in places like maybe 2 or 3 times the size of the Tongariro today.
Oh, yeah.
But the tributary was like in places no bigger than like the TT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you could do that mostly on foot with a couple of. Well, we didn't, but if we ever went up and fished it, me and my buddy Gene. We'd go up there on a day off and we'd just go and walk it. Just maybe you have to swim a couple of crossings, but you could walk it all day. Yeah. And that was super cool. You just fish it like a New Zealand stream. Yeah. You just be quietly picking your way up the edge, and then just be going up and around, and then you just kind of sit and watch. It was clear enough in the tributary that you could spot fish. Anything you couldn't spot, you might just swing some flies through and just see if there's anything there. And it was awesome, man. I really enjoyed that. It was very, very cool.
What kind of style are you fishing? Like?
Just big bait fish flies.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like saltwater flies you might use for kingfish, but just a bit bigger. Yeah. And then you just be swinging them down and across.
Oh yeah.
So you kind of you go around and you get to the top of the pool, and then you just start swinging the flies through, and then just down the pool. Yeah. Down and across, down and across, down and across. And if there's something there, real quick. Yeah. They just destroy it, man. Yeah. You're just swinging it through, strip it back, swinging it through, stripping it back, swinging it through, and then all of a sudden it's like someone dropped a car in the river. Yeah. And it's just this big, and then everything just goes tight, and you just strip, strike, and then these things come out the water, like, and they jump, and they just, and like, a big fish there would be 20, 30 pound. Yeah. And that's a hell of a fish, man.
Yeah. What sort of gear are you catching them on? Like,
I was using 9-weight stuff. 9 weight stuff. And then like the scientific anglers, they won't be here. I don't know why I'm looking at the wall. Like the jungle, there's like a jungle floater, Titan, I think it was called. And then also just some of the custom sink tips.
Yeah.
So just, super kind of just made for that like 100-degree weather. And sometimes you need the sink tips just to get the flies down a little bit. Yeah.
Work it.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, they're cool fish. So I enjoyed that.
How did that come about? Like,
I just kind of dropped my name in the hat. Just kind of put the word out there that like anybody needs a guide ever. I'm pretty keen to do it.
Mm.
I mean, it ended up costing me money to go and work there.
Yeah.
Because I got paid nothing, and it just didn't cover the cost of what it made me to go there. But I went there. I did go there for money, which didn't work out. But I came away with the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
It was I'd go back in a heartbeat. They're cool fish. I enjoyed the jungle, and then like the local Jamani boys we work with, like me and Gene got really tight with them over the 3 months we were there. So we ended up just chilling in their part of the camp with them, and even just we were kind of talking about a bit. You were saying like when you were in Japan, you could pick it up enough that you could kind of get by. I can't speak Spanish, but by the end of it, we could kind of communicate in pidgin Spanish and English, and then like we could kind of make it work between us. So we spent heaps of time with the boys, and they're hard people, man.
Yeah.
Hard people.
Yeah.
You'd be dragging these dugout canoes and stuff up through the rapids, and you're there, and I've got my buff and my sunnies, and I've got my hoodie on, and then my shorts and my leggings, and my boots and my wading socks, and thinking like fucking, this is hard work, like And then you got like Pedro in front of me, and he's there in bare feet, a pair of jeans and a shirt, and he's just crushing it.
Yeah.
They're hard, man. We kind of get to go on the expedition camps, and like you're gonna get your 2-man tent, and then your little kind of like sleeping bed and your sleeping bag and stuff, and the boys just crawl under a tarp. That's what they do. Sleeping with the spiders and the scorpions and the snakes and the jaguars, and and you're just like, oh, I'm really roughing it out here. Yeah. He's just such a pussy. Yeah. Those boys are made tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's that same thing, eh? They know no different.
No.
Like, they'd just be like... But it'd be funny, I wonder what they think, eh? Of, like, us.
They just laugh at us, man.
Like, man, what, you guys aren't even, like...
When we left, Gene and I just, like, called the kind of our crew together, and it was like, you can have my boots, you can have this shirt, you can have that, you can have this, and there's a cap, there's my buff, there's my thing, and just fucking gave it all to them, mate. Yeah, and they were stoked.
Yeah. That's cool, eh?
Yeah, because they're going to use it until it's like just
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, until it doesn't exist
anymore. It just can't be worn anymore, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But
what an experience.
Good people, man. Like, they had nothing. Always laughing, always happy. They'll share shit with you, and you kind of hear it from different people across the world. Like, they go somewhere and they mix with people that have fuck all, and yet they're the most generous, happy, easygoing, lovely
it's funny
people.
That,
yeah.
Like, it's the more success that comes, the harder shit gets, or
just how they just appreciate that small stuff.
Yeah.
You get up in the morning, everyone's just like smiling, talking, engaging with each other.
Yeah. Well, they're probably happy they got through the night, with the scorpions.
Exactly.
And
the
snakes
woo, made it through again. How about that?
Yeah.
But and they don't moan, they don't complain, they get on with stuff. I remember, like one day we got about halfway through the morning, and then Fernando, you called him a Terminator because he was like in charge of all the boys. He was like the number one guy. And he was just a machine, dude. Small guy, just jacked, and just hard, but good dude. Yeah. And we kind of got halfway through the morning. We're having a bit of a rest between pulls, and he's just like comes up and was like, "Hey man, you good?" And he's just like, "I'm hungry." So I was like, "Oh, why?" He goes, "Oh, we didn't get breakfast this morning. I was like, what? You haven't eaten since last night? And he's like, nah. And I was just like, well, fuck. I had a couple of muesli bars, and I was like, fucking eat those. And he was like, no, I don't want them. I was like, fucking eat them. Take them. And I made him take them, and then Gene did the same, and then, you know, just super grateful about that. I was just like, man, you gotta ask. But he wouldn't ask, he wouldn't say anything, and just like, they're just super proud and just shut up and get on with it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, whereas here, I haven't had my 10-minute break. And it's smoko. It's just a different world, eh?
Yeah, very different.
But just good people. I miss. Yeah, when I left that, I got all choked up because I didn't want to leave him. I went there for the fishing.
Yeah.
And I came away, and that was probably the biggest thing I came away. Of course, some great fish, and it was great fun. But yeah, the relationship me and Gene had with the boys, the crew, we didn't expect that, and it was awesome, man. Yeah, it was really cool. Especially as a couple of fucking white boys, you know. Yeah. They'd invite us into their into their group. Yeah. And it was massive. So that was really cool.
Yeah, that was like me when I left Japan. And then again here we had a couple of Japanese boys coming home, stay with us at home.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because in our house with the rooms that they slept in, my boys still call them, and so do me and my wife, Shin and Yoshi's room.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it's not like the spare room; it's Shin's room, and then the other one's Yoshi's room. But it's Yoshi's room is actually where I do my podcast at home, and it's got, you know, I've set up like an office, and it's got my fishing gear and stuff in it, but it's still Yoshi's room.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and we had them for, I think it was 3 months with us, but I remember Yoshi, we were extremely upset as well when we left, but Yoshi, it was Yoshi left at like 4 a.m, and he didn't sleep all night.
Really?
Like he was like distraught. I didn't realize this, but he actually, I didn't realize he didn't sleep, but he wrote us a letter, and he wrote it in English, and
wow, that's huge in itself.
Yeah, oh, awesome. Like we've still got it at home, but yeah, he wrote us this letter, and he said it took him, because he'd later, like, you know, messaged and stuff, and he was like, I didn't sleep my last night, and it took him like 8 hours or something to write the letter, because he'd start crying. So he'd like stop, and it was an awesome letter, and just, you know, very thankful for his time. But it was that connection, you know, like you talk about there, like leaving those boys, like they'd become part of our family for 3 months. They ate with us, they watched TV with us,
laughed with you,
they played with the kids on the tramp, they did it all, and they were like the boys' older brothers, and it was, you know, like more like, I suppose, our friends. They weren't young enough to be like our kids, but it kind of felt like that, you know. And then leaving it, Yoshi left at 4 a.m, and we're out in the driveway, bloody bawling our eyes out.
Yeah, brutal.
It's hard, man. Yeah. And then still, every now and then, like, the boys will ask about them. Yeah. And that's 4 years ago.
Wow,
and Cooper's only 8. So he was 4.
It's a big impact in their life, eh?
Yeah, you think, far out. He's still remembers that. And, he talks about them. And so does Mason. So, Mason would have only been, 2.5.
Do you ever have contact with them still?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, social media is good for that, you know. Like, we'll post up... you know, a picture of... Well, actually, when I took Cooper and Mason fishing, because both the boys, they actually came... I took them marlin fishing one day, and we caught 190 kilo striped marlin. Whew. And, like, second biggest striped marlin ever caught in Whitianga.
No way.
Yeah, and Shin caught it, you know, and Yoshi was there, and...
so that's mega.
Oh, yeah, they were like, this is the greatest day. And it was funny, because I said, what sort of fishing do you want to do? We'll go. They wanted to go fishing. I said, yeah, I'll take you fishing. And they said, we want to go marlin fishing. And I was like,
oh God.
I was like, yeah, that's all good, but don't expect to catch anything, you know? Like, we probably won't get something, but if we do, it'll change your life.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, okay. Yeah. And then afterwards that night, because we caught this fish, and it was, you know, it's amazing. It's mounted on the wall at my parents' house at the beach, and we I took them home and I said, tonight we drink. We have to drink.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And I was like, and they're like, oh no, we're tired. I was like, I don't care. And I went downtown, bought some beers and then a bottle of rum, and we sat there.
Go.
And then we nestled in and we kept going, and they're falling asleep on the couch. I wake them up and I'm like,
Wake up!
You guys don't realise what you have done. Like there's people, like that's the second biggest striped marlin ever caught in this town that we're in ever. In history. Ever. In history.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, really?
Yeah. So drink that rum.
Yeah, so you have to drink. You have to enjoy this experience. But yeah, it was funny because then the next day they were a bit hungover and you were driving home in the car and they're like, Sweens, you were right. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, oh, you said maybe we won't catch one, but if we do, it'll change our lives.
Yeah. That's cool. And they'll be telling that story back in Japan.
Yeah. It was funny because Waikato Rugby actually used it as advertising for like future, like they go to Japan and do a presentation around the universities and the company teams and get the players to come out. Yeah, and they use that. They've got photos and stuff of the boys with that fish and talking about the New Zealand experience.
Oh yeah, come here, catch a 200 kg marlin. Yeah. So that's what we do.
Yeah, it just happens all the time. Yeah, but no, it's I definitely know the feeling when you talk about that. And,
there's a connection.
It was the same in
like
Japan. Like when I left both teams actually, like it's so hard because you're with these guys every day, and
they become your family, right? Yeah, 100%.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm going to go back to New Zealand, and you want to keep in touch, but it's hard. It's expensive to.
Yeah, and you know,
you can't just walk down the road.
It's not going to be the same.
Nah.
No.
Yeah, and if you do see each other, it's gonna. Well, if you're lucky, might be once every 10 years.
Maybe, yeah.
Or you might see them once or twice more again.
I guess what. I've kind of I'm like I'll probably never see those boys again, but what I'll do is I'll kind of honor that time by just appreciating that for that kind of that moment in time. I'll just enjoy it for what it was and appreciate it for what it was,
Yeah, and carry those memories.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because it was pretty special. So I kind of went there for the fishing and I came away with just so much more. Yeah. In fact, I remember more fondly all of those moments with the boys than I do about the fishing. Yeah. As cool as it was. But But again, it comes back to what we were talking about before. It's just that experience as a whole rather than just about that fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose that kind of goes. I wanted to talk about this earlier when we talked about that big brown trout, because you didn't weigh it and you don't weigh fish. But what I loved is the story to that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell that again because it was a good one. Well, it's just a poignant moment. It just kind of without sounding like a hypocrite, I like to catch big fish. I'm that's my buzz. I like to try and find a big fish I can see, and I like to try and catch it, have a moment, and I'll put pretty much all my fishing time into trying to target those kind of fish. And I like that, but I don't really care what they weigh or what the number is on the fish, and I did for years chase that kind of double-figured fish. I want to catch a double-figured trout. I want to catch a 10-pound fish, and kind of was just because that's kind of just like what you do, I suppose.
It's like the 20-pound snapper.
Yeah, it's kind of there, and I never really kind of gave it much thought other than I wanted to catch it. And then I can't remember who the guy was or where we were, but I was chatting to this dude, and he was telling me about I've been fishing in the South Island and blah, blah. I was like, yeah, and he pulled out his phone and he was like, I was in the South Island River with a guide and I caught this big brown trout, and he pulled his phone out and he starts flicking through and he pulls up this picture, and it's him in this big South Island Valley, kind of quintessential South Island scene. And he's got this beautiful fish. It was pristine, man. The condition factor was just second to none. It was like a silvery kind of brown trout. Just nothing wrong with it, eh? It was mint. Just a stunning fish. And I was like, oh man, that's awesome, man. What a cool fish. Like, well done. And then in his words, I can still remember his words were, and I was over the moon until we weighed it, and it was only 9 3/4 pounds. And in that moment, everything just kind of became super clear. And I was like, what what the fuck?
Yeah.
Honestly, only 9 3/4 pound. There was nothing. It was a trophy fish in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
It's just a stunning fish. And then he was all of a sudden disappointed because they'd weighed it and it didn't hit a certain number that fuck knows who somewhere put on it as that makes it a trophy fish. That makes it a good fish. And from that moment, I just suddenly was like, what? I don't care. I honestly don't care. And I've never weighed a fish since.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
No.
What makes it better if it's £9 15 ounces or £10 1 ounce?
Yeah.
Who cares, man? It's a beautiful fish.
Yeah.
Like it just appreciate it for what it is. Like, I can understand people being interested, but then to put the value of a fish on a number don't work for me.
No, well, because there can be. Well, I think of it like there can be trophies for so many different reasons.
You get a tiny stream, and you caught a £3 trout out of that. That's a trophy fish.
Yeah.
For that stretch of water.
Oh yeah, there's
that's
so
a trophy
many
fish.
circumstances that go into. And when I say trophy, I guess it's more.
What does that even mean?
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
It's more of a memorable fish.
Yeah, and I think that's way more important. Like it could be where you are, it could be who you're with, it could be how you caught it, it could be any number of those factors. So I try and although I target big fish, I really don't care what they weigh.
No.
I would almost rather not know. And just kind of why do you want to put a number on a fish to make it, I don't know, worthy or worthwhile or better than if it was a different number? If you catch a fish at £9 and you catch that same fish next year at £10, is it better? It's the same fish.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I don't know. It's a weird one. But again, like, I bought into it for years, and I got caught up in that. But yeah, as soon as just this guy devalued that fish because of a few ounces on a scale, and it just
quarter of a pound.
Yeah, what the hell? What's that? Yeah, and it was just like you looked at it, and it was just perfect. It was a big fish. It was great condition. It was just stunning.
Yeah,
like you should be nothing but stoked with that. Yeah, and he was just like, "Oh, I won £10." It was shit. I was like, "Wow, you're just blowing my mind right here."
Yeah,
but it was a real turning point for me. And I don't care about measuring them for length. I don't care about measuring them for weight. I just like that's cool fish. I'm pretty good at guesstimating fish up to like around sort of £10. So I've got a pretty good idea how big they are, but I don't need to know. Yeah. But so I guess it comes back to just I just want to. I guess it's more about the experience. If I can find one good fish in a day, pretty good, pretty happy with that. Like, I mean, I'll go. Like most times I go out, if I'm finding good, a good amount of fish. Like, okay, for example, I was fishing the other week, and I was getting to the end of the day. I came up this piece of water, and I found this fish at the tail of this pool, up high in the water, eating off the top. And I sat there, and I was filming, so I got the long lens out, and I was filming. I was getting some real nice shots. And as I was filming, like real tight in, I could see as he was swimming around and coming up, he had like a real munted jaw, like the bottom jaw was kind of like over to the side.
Yeah.
Like it was a healthy fish. Like there was nothing wrong with it. He was still eating. He was fine. And I sat there and I filmed him, and I was like, I don't want to catch you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to spoil your day, man.
Yeah.
You got a bit of a munted jaw. You're in good nick, and it'll be a great fish, but I don't want to catch you. So I went to the head of the pool and I caught one out of there, lost it, fine, it's all good.
Yeah.
But I don't have to catch everything I see. And very often, like I'll see a fish, I'm like, nah, you're a bit skinny. You need to fatten up. I'm not going to spoil your day.
Yeah.
I'll just watch him for a bit and go, I'll go find another fish. Just, or I'll find a piece of water and I might find a fish, and if I'm lucky enough to catch it, that's good. I don't need to then fish the shit out the rest of it trying to catch everything else that's out. I'm happy. I'll move on, go see another piece of water, sit there and watch that pigeon for a bit, or eat some cheese. Like it's all good.
Yeah.
Catch a couple of nice fish in a day, and then you can kind of watch a couple more. That one, it's a bit skinny. I'll leave him alone. That kind of stuff. and then just enjoy being out there. I'm kind of more about that these days, and like I don't have to catch everything in the stream.
Yeah, it's funny, because you talk about that guy with the trophy fish.
Yeah.
When you chase things like that, you quite often forget the journey.
You miss so much.
You miss so much, and it's like you're not taking in. Yeah, like you can get very tunnel visioned into achieving something, and then so many good things along the way you can miss out on. 100%. I think about that with my rugby career, and I'm sure there's like a number of people out there and lots of different things that they've done. And they're like, man, I wish I enjoyed that a little bit more while I was in it, and like instead of being, like I don't know. I think I did a good job of not taking myself too seriously while I was in there, and I actually enjoyed the ride. But there was definitely a little patch there early on where I wasn't. Like I was just... It was when it all sort of become, start playing Super Rugby,
uber
getting paid
focused.
full-time, uber focused. And it was actually one of my groomsmen, good mate of mine, Norm, and he just called me out one day. He's like, bro, stop being a fucking dick. And I was like, what? And he's like, bro, you never have time for us anymore. But I was stuck in that cycle of trying to be better, trying to and I was just spending all my time with my rugby mates, and I lost that sort of grounding. And then from that moment I took a massive, and we it's a little bit sort of sad now, we don't spend as much time together now as what we did, but we're still the same every time we see each other. But another good friend of mine was so good for me all through that time of through my career of just grounding me, kind of like your granddad with your fishing. Whatever else was going on, it didn't matter to them. Like if I played poorly or played awesome, they didn't give a shit. Like they
still
literally
swings.
Still swings, and they would come to our after matches or go out for a beer after the game, and people would come up, say this, that, and the other. They don't give two shits. Like they're like, bro, you're still like,
I don't care.
You're still a dick.
Yeah.
You might have played awesome, but you're still a dickhead.
No, that's really true. Like I remember, I don't know, it was a while ago now, but I remember one day I did a big walk into a river, fished hard all day, and I was doing the same walk back out, just trudging head down. And then I was walking out, and if you've got a 2-hour walk out somewhere, you've got time to process, think, and whatever you end up doing. And I was walking out, and I was just processing through the day. This fish, that fish, I missed that shot, no. And then it occurred to me, I was just like, fuck, I don't think I looked up once today. I think I spent my whole day just eyes on the water looking for fish, trying to catch fish. If someone had said to me when I got back to the truck, describe the surroundings, describe the bush, describe the river, I wouldn't have been able to tell them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whoa, I've got to start looking up. And then that was kind of the beginning. And I didn't do it straight away. It was over a period of probably a couple of years. But then I kind of started to make myself stop and look around and go, whoa, look at that. Oh, dude, I love watching the birds. Feathered variety. In the river anyway.
Yeah.
But just stop and you'll see a couple of blue ducks messing around, or you'll see some fantails just working on a little mayflies coming off, and now I'm really, I'd say bad but good for it. I'll just sit down and I'm like, wow, look at that. And clients will be like, what are you looking at? Where? I'm just like, look at that. Just look where we are, man. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool, eh? I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Look where you are. Look what you're doing.
Yeah.
And just stop and just look around. Yeah, and just appreciate, like you were saying, I was so focused on the task in hand, I was missing the big picture.
Yeah. And I find with that too, as you get better at something, you take in the moments more as well. So you talk about their guiding. If you got someone that's there, they haven't done a lot of fishing. Even like me today, I'll be a lot more heavily focused on that and the fish and the doing than what you would be, because that just comes naturally to you. Yeah. So it's like you can fish in that moment and then switch it off and
Look at that blue duck over there.
Shit,
but then you were switching. I'm like, dude, I thought I heard a blue duck. And you're like, yeah, no, I heard that.
Yeah.
So you're not immune to it.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you're saying. You're right. Yeah.
Because I think about it when I think of sports and I think of cricket, and I think cricket players must have to be the best at being able to turn their mind on and off, because they stand in the field all day, sometimes doing nothing for a long period of time, and then they take an absolute amazing catch.
Yeah.
And you're like, that would have taken so much to get to be switched on for that.
I would have been staring at a cloud or something.
Yeah, when for like 3 hours prior to that, you've been standing there, you might have thrown the ball in twice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's very I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, I think about, I just think about sport because that's what I've, done.
Yeah.
So I think about that, and cricket. I played cricket growing up too, so
yeah,
I kind of get it. But I really appreciate, I guess, like fine motor skills and people being able to execute under pressure. That's why I like fly fishing, and I like watching people do it that are good, because you're like, oh, you can, when you get because I've watched, more things, because we have YouTube now and watching videos and you see stuff, and you can really, when you've actually tried to do that, then you can get a real appreciation of how hard that is, because somebody that's good makes it look very easy.
I think that anything that you look at, if you're watching someone and it looks easy, they are probably super good at that.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, no matter what. If it looks easy, they're probably really good at it. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so I have a real appreciation for those sorts of things, because I know what it takes to be able to perform under pressure and to be like consistent. So I appreciate like I guess everything in life for that. Because everyone's.
It's interesting, like we kind of touched on that a bit earlier too, like with the social media thing, and like you talking about YouTube there. Like I try and keep everything as real as possible, and I keep in when things go wrong, and I keep in when I mess up and that kind of thing. But what you've got to remember as well is, if you're watching something on social media, let's say YouTube, just we're talking about YouTube. If you're watching something on that, they're heavily edited. So you're watching a 20-minute video. Well, that was probably a 12+ hour day for me to film. So you're not seeing, as much as you try and keep in and tell a story and kind of keep it real, you're missing a massive amount of that day. So it's not like every fish I come up to, I'm like, oh yeah, sweet, one cast, boom, got him. Yeah, sweet, there's a fish, one cast, got him. That's not the reality of it.
Nah.
I fluff up, I cast into trees, I spook fish, I get it wrong, I get caught in rocks, So I try and keep as much of that in as possible to keep that relatable. But like, don't look at what you see online as gospel. You look at Instagram and that kind of stuff. You don't catch those fish every single time you go out, man.
No.
You can walk all day and blank. You can catch a couple of fish that are smaller, or you might not catch any fish at all, or anything like that. So it can give a very distorted
perception
of you and how fishing is, because it's fishing, man. Shit goes wrong, nothing goes right sometimes. Even if you do everything right, sometimes it don't work out. So that's why it's kind of so important. Like, just go out and enjoy the day, and some good stuff will happen along the way. Yeah.
I reckon there's a market for like a social media platform where you put up all your errors and mistakes. Not like a fails thing, but like a
idiots failing.
Not like that, but more like, just the shit that you're dealing with. If you're willing to share, but it's probably because of the way social media is and has been viewed. It like people will.
They want to share the best bits. Right?
Yeah, because they're probably they're not vulnerable enough to, because people can just say shit. Right?
Oh, and they do.
And they do.
Yeah,
like,
they get super negative. Yeah.
Well, that brown trout, the video you put up of that, and talking to you today, and some of the
the comments
and stuff mentioned, about Oh, I would have just hugged it on the way past.
Yeah, or you should have just grabbed that. You should have just
It's
netted
just-
that. Like everyone's got an opinion, and everyone's.
And same with the turbo men day. Like people saying,
people got pretty negative about that on TikTok and stuff like that. Which
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I kind of work on the thing like I don't expect everyone to love everything because that's not how it works. But
No.
like, if I watch something and I don't like it, I just keep going. I don't sit there and then take the time to then like, I'm gonna rip this guy apart, or I'm gonna put some negative stuff on there. I'm like, nah, don't like that. Nah, don't like that. I won't watch that.
It's sad though, because the people that get heard, the negative talk gets.
It's louder.
It's louder,
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, it's So I got.
Is that us? Is that a us thing though? As humans, like we.
I think so. So it's
listen
like
to it more,
you can put something up on. Say you can put a video up, for example, and you can get 50 positive comments and 1 negative comment.
And it affects you, That
And it's the negative comment that sticks with you.
Yeah.
And if you let it, it can get under your skin and it can ruin your day, man. And it's just like, what about the 50 good comments?
Yeah.
But they don't have as much power over you as that negative thing. And it's a weird thing. I don't, like you said, I don't know if it's us as a human thing. But yeah, and I guess maybe a lot of it comes down to your state of mind in that moment too. Like when you read it, if you're having a bad day and you're pissed off or you're upset or something, and you read that, it compounds that negative comment.
That feeling,
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know what it is. It's a weird one. So the thing to do would be just not to read the comments, but I like to try and engage with as many people as there are on there as I can. But that means you're going to end up reading those negative ones.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I talked to, like when I was captain for Waikato, I talked a lot to the younger players about that. Is like, if it's all good to, read the hype and stuff in the media and social media and stuff, but if you're willing to, or if you're dying to open up your Instagram or
To check it.
Facebook or whatever after a game when you've played well, walk in and do the exact same thing when you play bad. Like, if you want the good,
That's a good one, yeah.
yeah, if you want the good, you have to be able to take the bad too, because otherwise you're chasing something that's not attainable. Like, if you just constantly, all you want is positive, like
Feed
the
the
world,
ego,
the world doesn't work like that. Like it just doesn't.
No.
Nah.
That's
and
a really-
if
that's
you,
a-
and if
it's
you
a good
chase
way.
that all the time, at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to will get hurt. You're
gonna crash pretty hard.
Yeah, because you'll crash hard, because there'll come a point where one of those negative comments will get you at the wrong time. But if you're privy to it and you're learning to navigate it,
Yeah.
and it's almost like learning a skill. Like, you learn that skill to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, it was. I had an accelerated learning curve of that, because I got put into a professional arena really young, so I was 17, and then obviously that brings a whole lot of, he shouldn't be there. Why is he there? He's done nothing.
Yeah.
Who is he?
Yeah, who's this guy?
So I was like, copped a lot of that early, but then I also credit a lot of what I went through with that is why I had a long career too, because I learned how to manage that, and then you don't play well all the time, so you've got to be able to move on from poor games and deal with negative comments and try and find a way to not let it affect you. But it always does. Like, it still affects you, but you're like trying to work out.
Can you mitigate that somehow? Yeah.
And try and think about what's the next process.
Did you have someone to help you with that, or was that just something you worked out yourself?
Not to start with. Well, I had a good support network of my family, like mum and dad.
But how to deal with or negotiate that kind of minefield of negativity and
Nah, but definitely a little bit later in my career. Well, not like when I said later, I was still pretty young, like 21, 22.
Right.
We had a mental skills coach, and he was with us as a team like full time, so he was like real good. Yeah,
it's good. I'm gonna break. Is that gonna come out on here?
It is a little bit.
Hey Thomas, is there any way you can make that voice quieter, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of just made that up yourself, did you?
Yeah. Oh well.
or did you have someone just kind of like mentoring you through, like, dude, you're gonna get a lot of shit, and this is how you kind of deal with it, and you know?
Yeah, I guess I just always had people to talk to.
That's massive, eh? Having someone just to bounce shit off.
Yeah, because we're actually running my neighbour actually, the guy Skip lives down the road, real good bugger, and he's really big on mental health now.
Oh yeah, cool.
And it's cool, and he's like, I want to be able to. We actually talked on the phone today, and he was talking about, without sort of going too far off track, but I think it's a good topic.
Yeah.
Is he talked a lot about, he feels like he's found his thing where he can make a difference, and he wants to, and he's passionate about it, and he's actually bringing a mental health, like a men's mental health chat to Hamilton. He went to one up in Auckland, and then now he wants to bring it to Hamilton, so he's going through that process of getting it in, and he's asked me to be a guest speaker.
Oh, cool.
And like, I haven't had, I've dealt with a lot of pressure and like negative things. I don't think I've ever been really suffered in that space, but I have definitely had my challenges, like I think we all do. But more, what I want to talk about is, I find everything we do, especially in rugby, is all kind of bottom of the cliff with the ambulance, rather than like, how can we stop this?
Stop them jumping rather than pick up the mess at the bottom.
Yeah, because for me, what I tried to do is, I was lucky that I got to a position where I was experienced and in a leadership role, as I knew when pressure was coming for guys.
Yeah.
So I could get in front of it.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, okay, we've got this new young fella in the team. He's he hasn't had a game. He's in the squad, but we're 5 weeks in. Doesn't look like he's going to get a shot. He's probably about third in line. How's he feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd kind of been there before at certain stages of my career early on, so it's like, and just having that awareness of what's actually going on around you is like, shit, he's going to need someone to talk to. And maybe that's me, maybe it's not, maybe it's one of the other leaders, but that was what I focused on, was trying to get in front of it.
Yeah.
And I was just lucky because I was in a position where I'd been there and been experienced in that role. But then, and I was talking to Skip about it today, and he goes, bro, that's exactly what more people need to focus about in like the trades and in construction and that kind of thing. Because even we talked about with fly fishing, you know, all of us at one point didn't know how to fly fish.
Yeah.
And you got to remember that. So different interactions with people, it's like, well, okay, you were that guy one day though, so there's no point snapping at him or
just hold
whatever.
up there,
just
buddy.
hold up.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hey mate. What do you know? You know.
Well, you might use a word.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right?
Mm.
What? No. What's that?
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. So just dial it back and then just break it down, and rather than like, what do you mean you don't know what it means yet? There's a time where you didn't either, bro. Yeah. It's very easy to forget that.
Yeah. Like mend your line. What does that mean?
Yeah. What's a mend?
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems so simple to us. Yeah.
Mm.
You know, because we just do it without thinking now.
Yeah.
But then there was a time where, I didn't know what a mend was.
Yeah.
Or why I should do
or
it.
or water load it. What?
Yeah.
What is it?
Just water load, bro.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh God, you know. See, and but then that's
but that the way you say it, to that person can have a massive effect on their day.
Exactly. How you say it.
They might be so nervous, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to mess up in front of Alex," and you go, "Oh man, just water load it," and then they're like, "Oh,
fuck's sake, man, just do that."
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh shit." And then their day's ruined.
And they probably won't, you know, I might want to come back and fish after that. And then you've just ruined someone's fishing. Yeah. It's really a big thing, eh? And I think I don't know. Do you reckon it's easier these days to kind of be like that, just in the world we live in, rather than actually kind of step back and kind of go, actually, no, just like, and like you said, like, old mate over there, how's he feeling? Or maybe it's because you've been in that situation already. You recognised it.
That's what I think. And that's what I think that way because I've been there, or I've been around it long enough that I should know better. But then I'm like, how do we encourage that, I guess, kind of awareness
education.
Yeah,
Is
more.
that what
It's just I suppose.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man.
Because then you get that though, and you still get some people that just, for whatever reason, they just don't get it. You know,
well,
they're
some
like,
people don't want to be educated. So I'm gonna jump a little bit here, but it's hopefully you see the parallel. So you're talking, and I'm talking about is education the answer? But then someone's got to want to be open to learn and kind of change their way of thinking or whatever. So I'm gonna take this to a fishing thing now, and like I'm big on like fish handling, fish care, that kind of stuff. Keeping them wet, keeping them in the water, minimal handling, barbless hooks, keeping them out of the water for as little as possible, that kind of thing. You see some terrible things, terrible fish handling technique in New Zealand, just across the board. Not everyone, but I see a lot of it. And I've talked about this a few times, and like how do you start to change that? And it's a mentality thing, because maybe that's just how they've been shown, or that's just how they think about. Do they not care? Do they not know? Is it how they've been taught? Like what is the reason that people treat fish badly? So then,
is that where your video stemmed on that? Were you like, okay, I'm gonna.
It didn't stem from that, but it is a big part, and like an underlying kind of thing. Throughout everything, all my fishing. But then, so I've talked about this with the boys and stuff like that over the years, and I'm like, well, sure, maybe education is the answer, but then there's a lot of people that just don't want to listen. They don't give a shit, or they just think, nah, they're fine, don't matter, it's just a fish, they're all right. So then that kind of, it's my parallel to what you were just saying here, is education probably is the answer, but then how do you educate somebody that doesn't want to learn, or isn't open to changing? So kind of in that parallel there, like you could then go, oh, I recognize this, and then that guy there needs it, but then how do you teach somebody
to see that
or even care? Just harden up, mate.
It was like
that should be alright. Shouldn't be in it if you can't handle it, or that kind of mentality. Or same thing, fish, they'll be alright, they're fine, they swim away. But it's no, that's not the right. So what's the answer?
I don't know.
I don't know either, man. I don't know.
I know why I do it. It's because I do it for the greater good, just like you do with the fishing. It's like, if we don't look after the fish won't be there. We can't go out and enjoy what we do, right?
And also, there's no need to treat a fish like that. Look, we're having an impact on that fish. So surely, especially if you're going to release that fish, isn't it up to us to minimise the impact and the stress on that fish? Don't tell me you love fishing, and then you can't kick a fish up the bank, and then just kick it back in the water. That doesn't sit right with me at all. You're not thinking about the welfare of that fish. So that's a big thing, as well as if you treat your fish like that, it's probably going to die, and then it's not going to be there, and then the impact on the fishery.
Shouldn't have put it back anyway.
There's a whole number of things, But again, I guess I kind of jumped there, but it's the same sort of thing. It's like, well, I think education is the key, but then how do you get someone that just doesn't want to know, don't want to learn? How do you get them on board and get them to change?
The other thing with that too is where people take their knowledge from. I find is like a hard one too, because like I talked to Bonds about this, one of my other podcasts, and he's like, you can get knowledge from somebody that says got knowledge the size of a bloody watermelon, and then someone else might have knowledge the size of an orange. What that person with the orange says is not wrong, but he only knows what he knows. And what the person knows with the watermelon is actually a far greater pool of knowledge. But it's like, he's not wrong in what he's saying, but is he the right person to listen to?
Yeah,
because
that's a good way of looking at it.
Our mate over here with the watermelon, he clearly knows more. He's got a more rounded view. Or more oval view. That's
a good way of looking at it. And I guess
there's still, like, you've got to be able to source your knowledge in the right areas,
Yeah.
Or it's back to the whole Instagram online thing. You just, you can't believe everything that's on there. It's like an fully edited video. I don't just rock up first cast and
Catch
bang
everything.
fish. Yeah,
that's not
but
it
then people don't want to watch me casting and
into trees all the
into
time.
trees.
Well, they
all
do,
day.
but like not all day.
Not
yeah.
all day. Yeah. It's a funny one, that one, because we talked about it too today in terms of like, the videos need to be shorter and this, that, and the other. But you can't tell a story in 10 minutes.
No,
You can't.
If you try, So like,
and I want those, like, that's why I like podcasting, because it's not about trying to tell a story in 10 minutes. It's about this, like, we sit down and discuss.
Yeah, have a conversation.
Yeah, things
and
in long form.
It just goes over here, it goes over there, and it is what it is, right?
And then when I watch a video, you could show me a 5-minute clip that's full of action. I'll go, I want more.
Yeah.
I don't want, like, just to see the bites and the jumping. Like, show me everything too. The approach, like,
the
I wanna
rig,
learn.
the kind of stuff like that. Yeah, and again, there's so much more to the day than just the bites and the jumping and the fish.
Yeah.
It's it's a trip.
But I think as people, we kind of want. Well, I don't know. It's a funny one, because it seems to be that more of us want it more authentic and more natural. And I talked to Matt Watson about this on his podcast when he came on, and he said, like, even now to that, they're at the point, like, when they first started, everything had to be perfect, and they were just like, any slight wobble in the camera, scene was gone.
No,
where
true.
now it's almost opposite. Like, if it's too perfect, they edit it to make it look less perfect. So if they put the GoPro in the water to, like,
film the fish, whatever.
film the fish, dunk it in, and it just does a seamless transition, like, perfect. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
They'll edit and put bubbles and shit in to make it look more natural, because otherwise it looks, people look at it and go, that's not the same fish.
It's gone full circle.
So it's come back around to, like, more
raw.
off the cuff, like, raw, shoot with GoPros, bit of banter, talk where you go, and I think people find it more relatable.
Relatable, for sure. I think that's a big thing, eh? Yeah. But then,
because that's what, like, personally, I've obviously watched your videos before I knew who you were or had spoken with you at all or communicated, and I enjoyed the information that's in them. I was like, this is cool for someone, like, for me that's getting into the sport. Like, I've learnt a lot from doing that.
That's
like,
awesome. Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm going for, is that mix of, information that people can get stuff from, and then entertainment from the storytelling side of things. So if I kind of mix the two, and then also have that kind of the GoPro raw stuff, and then try and mix it with some more kind of cinematic-y kind of B-roll thing, and that's kind of what I'm going for. The direction I'm trying to go for at the moment, anyway. That may change down the line, but I don't know. I kind of like the road I'm on. Yeah, because like we were talking about earlier, we grew up without internet. It was hard to get information, man.
Yeah,
where do you get it from?
Yeah.
So, I'm happy. Information, it's free. Yeah. It's everything. Just give it out there. It doesn't matter. It ain't gonna change nothing. Oh, not in a bad way.
Nah.
I mean, why wouldn't I tell you what I use or how I do this, or maybe think about this and that kind of stuff? I mean, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people like you, in terms of being, like, sharing and giving of that knowledge, you have a lot of confidence in what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're like content, if it makes sense. Like, I find people that are not willing to share, they're I'm stuck for
words.
Stuck for the word, but
I think I know what you're trying to say. It's like they're trying to keep things to themselves so they can kind of just.
They're insecure.
Yeah, insecure.
They're insecure of like, people are actually going to find out. I don't really know, but that's all good. You don't have to know everything.
I don't know heaps.
Yeah. There's
heaps I don't know.
Yeah. But I do feel like that people, if they're not willing to sort of, just I guess that everyone I've crossed paths with in my life and whatever, if they're willing to share, they are genuinely like confident in
they're
what they do.
in a good place for what they do. Yeah.
Like they're content and they enjoy
Like I
it
say,
for the
like
right reasons
I'm not,
and they want to
I'm
help
not,
someone else
yeah,
enjoy it.
I'm not going to tell you spots, but I'll
No.
give you all the information on everything else. No worries, because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I at all? Like, you know, it doesn't help me to not tell you. It doesn't help you for me to not tell you. So
Well,
why wouldn't I?
if anything, it's the opposite, because you know, if you're the guy that people are learning things from and gaining information from, why wouldn't they go to your channel? You know what I mean? If anything, it's the it's the
100%. Yeah. And I just
strengthens it.
kind of, I guess it comes back to, because pretty much everything I did was self-taught. I know how hard that is to do and how time-consuming that is to do. I wish there was someone like me that could have helped me when I was trying to learn all this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you even said, like, you still think now, like, how did I catch fish last year with what I know this year?
Every year it's the same. Yeah.
It's amazing.
How did I catch any fish last year? Because I didn't know shit.
Yeah.
With the amount I learned this year, how did I do that last year? And it was the same the year before, and it'll be the same next year and the next year.
That's amazing, eh? When you think of a learning curve over a long period of time.
I hope it's always the same, man. And I think if you keep your mind open and your ears open and you just kind of surround yourself with good people and the right people, you'll learn. You'll never stop learning. It's so great. You're never going to know it all.
No.
It's brilliant. It's exciting. What else don't I know yet? What am I going to learn next year?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I learned how to dry drop a fish today.
It was pretty cool, man.
That was
Sight
cool.
fish, dry dropper,
Yeah.
boom.
No, it was cool. It's like, it's a whole different element, eh? That
Yeah, it's a
whole
different
sight
skill.
fish.
Different skill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, and you were like, oh man, it's so weird not like throwing weight around.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole cast.
The whole dynamic's different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can see in your cast, you know how every now and you drop that front cast and it might just kiss the water.
Kiss the water, yeah.
That's because you've been used to all winter to opening up your loops because of the weight.
Because of the weight.
You can't do tight loops with weight
Yeah.
because it just doesn't work. So you've got to open up the loops, you
Yeah.
know. So when you are setting up for your water loading, you're doing big rod movements and opening up your loops.
rather than those like...
And that's why you were just every now and then touching the water on your front cast.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, stop your rod tip a bit earlier and make it a bit snappier, and then you'll get the straight lines
Yeah.
because you've got no weight now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Especially when you don't have much fly line nowadays. Like,
Yeah,
You definitely can feel that. I was like, whoa.
And that's where your kind of your choice of fly line and your choice of leader setup is so important. Yeah, so we had like maybe like a 13-foot leader ish in total, maybe 13, 14 feet,
Yeah.
and we were like 20 feet behind the fish. So you had 6 feet of fly line
Yeah.
to load that rod with and cast.
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
Nah. And it got windy.
Yeah, and it was windy.
It was like,
Yeah.
did that cast, and you're like, and I was like, the wind got there, and don't worry, you allow for it, and then the wind will stop.
Yeah, you end up
Sure
on the
enough,
tree.
Yeah, I ended up in the tree.
Yeah. So all those little things playing, and then like, okay. And then we went back to nymphing, and you're like, okay, water load, boom, job done, man, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool too, doing the nymphing in that kind of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sight fishing and nymphing.
Sight fishing,
Low
nymphing.
water, clear.
Yeah.
And then talking about like where you stand to present your
Yeah,
fly.
that was cool.
You know, you don't always have to be below the fish and casting over the fish to fish to it. Sometimes
Especially
I
in
find
that clear water, that you probably spook a lot of fish.
a lot of the
doing
time
that.
to get your fly high and above the fish enough that they're going to sink to the level and be coming past the fish at the right depth, you're going to end up
dumping the fly line
dumping the fly line on top of the fish and spooking it. So you're better off like doing what we did, which is to get as opposite the fish as you can and then fish over and onto the fish. So you get opposite the fish and then you just go bloop and drop it onto the fish. You get a better drift, less drag, fly line's nowhere near it, and you get a better presentation every time.
Yeah.
And even just at a time where you kind of fishing, and I was like, take 2 steps up. Boom, boom. How much did that change the drift and make it better?
It made it so much better. Yeah.
So just little things like that. And again, that's just all just learning over years and experience and just kind of trying to... And you'll get to the point where many times you'll be, okay, I'm going to get opposite this fish as best I can. And you just get into position and that fish will go, poof, gone.
Yeah.
And you just got too close.
Yeah.
You got too close. But then that's how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I still do it now. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can get to there. Nah, fucked it.
Yeah.
Gone. But, you know, it was kind of like you're almost better in some point, some situations
To risk
spooking that fish to get yourself in the best spot possible to get that drift, that presentation.
You said that today, when we did that dry dropper and we pushed up that inside up
edge,
further, and you're like, oh, we need to get to here because of that fast water. You'll get a terrible drift.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to risk spooking it, but we need to get to there.
Yeah, that's where we need to be to get the drift we need to get.
See, that was like good for me to learn because I wouldn't have thought to push it that far.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I don't know, and I wouldn't have. I could see the water was like that, but I would have.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like it is quite. It's quite amazing how close sometimes you can get to a fish.
Well, we saw that today. Like, we got real close.
Yeah, 15, 20 feet tops.
And
You
then
know, and sometimes you need to get that
yeah.
close.
And then we nearly stood on that one at the end of the day.
Yeah, and see that one. Too busy talking about how there should be a fish here somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it was right there.
One here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep, that's the guy.
there's one. He didn't take off though to start with.
She just cruised out. Oh, I see you. I'm out of here, and just boop, I'm out. I'm gone. You can't win them all. But no, it was good, man. If you fish well, it was good. It was good few hours. And again, we've got plenty of different water, different kinds of fishing.
Yeah,
different shots,
scenarios.
different approaches, different scenarios. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's that, like, it's so good though having some, like, learning with somebody that knows, like, it just accelerates that learning curve.
Oh, it goes through the roof, eh?
Yeah, man, it's so good. Like, I'm super grateful to Campbell for taking me out that first time, because he made it a really good experience that first day.
So you wanted to go back.
Yeah, and I wanted to go back, and he explained things well, like, really simple.
Yeah.
And then I had an awesome day, even though, and it got to the point he was like, man, I really want you to catch fish, and I caught one at the end of the day.
Oh, great day then.
But I didn't even care if I caught one, like, I had heaps of bites, so I was like,
I'm doing something right.
yeah, I'm doing something right.
This is attainable.
Come
back. Like, this is doable.
That was enough for me, and it was the same with marlin fishing. When I got into that, once I started getting bites, I was like, okay, this is achievable.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, if I give this time.
Yeah, and I didn't necessarily, I would have liked to have caught more of them, but I lost a lot, but it didn't actually bug me that much because I was like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm still learning.
I'm going to put the time
I'm working
in.
things out here, but at least I'm getting somewhere.
This OCD's kicking in, man. I know it's going to happen.
Mom, I'm going to go home and lie awake all night and go,
I'm going to get all Rayman on this shit. You're right.
Start writing out codes and stuff. If I just drive this way, like 2 more degrees.
I need 2 degrees off to the left. I'll be sweet,
but it's the fly fishing is such a cool process. Like it's it's good. It's good for me too because it slows you down a little bit too. Yeah. Like today was really cool doing that sight fishing aspect of it because it showed how much you can slow down as well. Like,
and you tend to find if you do bowl in there too quick, you generally fuck it. Yeah, it's just you can't go in there like guns blazing and expect to catch fish, especially in the kind of water we were fishing, which is shallow, it was clear. You got to take your time. You got to be slow. You got to be quiet. You got to just kind of just rein it back just a little bit. And okay, sweet. Okay, now watch them. Okay, he's doing that. Okay, I should probably stand here. I reckon I can get in behind that rock. Then I can miss that little shitty current there, and I can present to there. If I drop it like this far in front of him, fly should get down. He'll see it. That's my little window. I don't need to lead him by 20 feet because it's just I'm going to have drag. I'm going to be on the bottom. My fly will have sunk. Just
see, that was even cool today when we were fishing those first ones in that dry dropping. When we were doing that dry dropping in that first in that little shallow bit.
Yeah.
But you didn't need much lead at all,
No.
And if you got too much, it was
game over.
Yeah,
you can
game
get
over.
drag, you can
Yeah.
get the nymph caught on the bottom, and then it's just going to screw it up,
Yeah.
or both, you know.
Yeah.
So you just all these little things you're just kind of adjusting constantly. Yeah. All you need to do is lead the fish enough that the fly's going to get where it needs to be in time, and then give the fish a chance to see it and eat it, and then that's it. So your window might only be 6 feet of good drift. Drop it in 3 feet in front of him, it comes past him, once it's past his tail, that's your window gone. No point fishing it out for the rest of the time, because that's where your fish is there. So you just boom, set it. Same when we were doing the nymphing. Chuck it in here, pop a little mend in, let it fish, and go again. Pop it in there, put your mend in, let it fish, and go again. So you're not drifting, like whack it up there, couple of mends, then it gets to the fish, and then fish it all the way out the back and down there. There's no need. There's your fish. That's where you need your flies to be presenting.
Just need it presented well
just there. Yeah. So do what you have to do up here to get your flies where they need to be, acting like they should be right there.
Because that was cool, like, because obviously fishing through the winter, you're fishing that nymphing style and mending, but you're not aware where the fish is in that pool.
Not so much.
So you're not worried. You just mend when you think you should mend, but you think about it completely differently when you can see the fish. Like I was real soft on my mend today, because I was like,
great.
Is that fish, like, can it see it way up there, or like?
Oh, you start slapping that thing around, man, that fish will be gone pretty quickly. 100%. And then it comes down to, like, when do I mend? Like I need to things to land here. Maybe I need to let it just drift a little bit and then pop a mend in there. If I haven't mended by then, just let it fish. Or you're going to mend over that fish, and then you're going to screw your chance.
See, that was a cool, like, learning today. And same with the cast. Like, if you bomb the cast and
just fish it out.
Just fish it out.
Don't rip it off.
I didn't do it. I did that once today.
Only once, though. Only once.
But it's just the natural habit.
Go again.
Shit. Like, get it out. But
it's like nah, it's all good. No, just let it fish out, get behind, and then go again and adjust. Just be better on the next one.
Yeah. It's just that whole adding that clear water to the situation changes everything.
Changes the game completely.
Because that fish, if you chucked it there and the water wasn't clear, it's not going to know that you ripped it out. But when it's clear and all of a sudden something darts out of the water,
it's noisy. They see like line, they see shadow, they see flash, they can hear stuff. All sorts of things. Any number of those things will send us. And sometimes the fish won't even like spook and leave. You'll just see that fish that was once a minute ago just swinging back and forth, eating stuff happily. And then you do something like that, and all of a sudden that fish is just sitting there, still. Doesn't move anymore. But he ain't gone. You're like, but he's still there. Don't matter, bro. Done. Let's keep walking. Like that's done. You've done it. Just kind of so you can start to then read the situation, because you can see the fish. You can watch him, you can observe his body movements, you can see how he's acting, and then if you see a change in that, then you can kind of recognise, that fish is done, or I need to just give him a rest, or I need to change my fly, or whatever, because you can see what's going on. That fish was happy. I did a real shit cast and put the line on his head, and now he's not moving anymore. Go find another fish. So it's all part of the coolness of that sight fishing thing.
I suppose because not every fish is just going to want to leave their pool if you spook it.
Nah, you get that. You get that a lot with browns in the South Island. They'll just go doggo. When you get there, happy fish. One cast, fish just stops moving. Just keep moving. Just keep walking. Keep going. One cast, done. See ya. And a lot of them, like, you'll walk up past. Okay, he's done. You'll walk up past him, and you'll be right next to him, and they're just looking at you. And then they might just go, okay, I'm out of here. They'll just cruise off. But I mean, you could sit there for another hour, and that fish won't move.
The water and that must be beautiful down in the South.
South Island's a different world, man. It's crazy. It's a crazy place. It's just different. Big country, big valleys, big rivers, cool fish, amazing places. Way more challenging as a fishery, I think. I think to catch fish in the South Island consistently, you have to be a better angler than you do in the North. Not saying that the North Island is Yeah, the North Island is an easier fishery than the South Island, but it's just very different.
Yeah.
It's just different kind of fishing.
Yeah.
You know, so you might be nymphing blind more, so you might be using more kind of, you know, water loading, mending, roll cast, that kind of stuff to kind of present to fish and fish water that you probably wouldn't fish in the South Island, just because of the very nature of the fishery down there.
Yeah.
Less fish, that kind of stuff. But it's that challenge I like.
Yeah.
And a lot of walking. A lot of walking down there.
Yeah.
You know, you can clock up 20 can a day easy down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you might see 4 fish. You might get a shot at 2.
Yeah.
And you might get 1.
Yeah.
But I like those odds. It's good. The pressure's on then. You
Yeah.
know? And then you really fucking go, okay, I'm going to really slow down.
Yeah.
Because this might be the only shot of the day.
Yeah.
So you make sure you got everything right. And then you go throw it in a tree. Pull out the tree, it falls on the fish, fucks off. You know, but I like those odds. You know, it's good. You know, gotta make it work.
It's relative, Because once you get your skill up, that's you're searching to be challenged.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and that's the challenge.
I like the challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus, it's just stunning down there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've fished the Tongariro with Mike Davis, and you know, very skilled fisherman, and he's exactly the same. Like he wants it hard.
Yeah.
He doesn't
easy.
really like the winter fishing. Like he goes.
It's fun.
But he loves the the small creeks, the
backcountry, tough fishing, not many fish. Yeah.
Because he's got the skill to do it.
Yep.
You know, and he loves that challenge.
That challenge, yeah. High stakes fishing.
Yeah.
Big effort.
Yeah.
Like,
after today, like just that
little
taste,
yeah.
like I get it,
Yeah.
you know, and I really enjoyed that challenge of,
yeah,
you know, trying to get the cast right and stuffing them up. And
you did well, man. Like you obviously whatever you've done over winter, you've dialed in well. Then it's just a matter then of just tweaking those skills and
doing the doing, Like
just keep grinding, man.
Yeah. You can't. There's no substitute for that time.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, you know, like I said, we just said before, like, you know, by all means, watch the videos, read the articles, talk to people, think about it, but you just got to get on the water. Get on the water as much as you can.
Yeah.
And just, you know, make mistakes and work it out. Yeah, that's where it's at. Yeah, no substitute for that.
Nah. We talked about, I don't know if we had the mic on though, but we talked a little bit about Jeff Pierce at the start, and
Yep.
yeah, you got to fish with him, and you're saying he's very fishy.
Yeah, I've fished with Jeff quite a bit now,
Yeah.
over the last 6 or 8 years or whatever. Every time he comes over, we fish together. We make a point of it. And he's a fishy dude, man. He's a really good angler, and not just for fly fishermen. He's a conventional angler too. But I forgive him for that because he's a good dude. But he's still got that drive and that passion. He's still, you know, prepping the night before. He's up at 2:30 in the morning on his days off, and he's driving 2 hours to get to a piece of water. He's exploring, and he finds fish. He's a good angler, man. Yeah, I rate him. Yeah.
Did you guys have some good fishing when he was here?
We did okay. We did some stuff on the locals, and then we got some good fish out of one of the small lakes up in the high country that just opened. But he's good enough. He's just got that all-round skill base. You know, you put him on a river in New Zealand, and he's comfortable nymphing.
Yep.
You give him a single space setup, he's comfortable doing that.
Yep.
You take him up a lake, he's comfortable doing that. You take him anywhere, he'll be able to just yep, sweet, I can do this.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of experience, man. And he's a good angler.
Yeah, what is 160 different species on fly? Is that
how many different countries did you say? Something ridiculous, 50 something countries or maybe more.
What a job.
Yeah, right. But that's all because wherever he goes, he makes sure that he adds time in to go and fish.
Yeah.
You know, he puts the effort in to make that happen. So, not only does he work in a fishing industry, he actually is a fishy dude.
Yeah.
So he knows what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. Have you done any fishing in America?
I've done a little bit. I did a little bit. Drifted a trout stream. I think it was at Upper Delaware for some trout one day, stripping streamers off a drift boat, which was good fun. And then I did some time, a few days messing around trying to catch some striped bass on fly, which we got a couple of smallish ones. And then we went down, fished at Everglades for 2 or 3 days, which was awesome. Oh yeah, this is another thing I've done abroad. I forgot to say this earlier. Yeah. Everglades was awesome. We caught some some redfish, some snook, some black drum, baby tarpon. I think that was about it. But Everglades was cool. That's a pretty amazing place.
Yeah.
What a wild diversity of wildlife in there.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wicked. And then we went down to Isla Morada for 3 days to try and catch some big tarpon, but we had 2 days of real bad weather and then one stunning day when nothing wanted to eat. So over that 3 days I managed to hook one tarpon for about a second before it bumped off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to go back and do that, which I really want to do.
Yeah.
But it was cool, man. I really enjoyed the States. It was awesome, man. Everyone's super friendly. It's a cool culture shock from coming from over here. But Everglades was awesome. Just I enjoyed that probably more than anywhere else, which again surprised me. I didn't think, I was like, I'm pretty sure it'd be cool, but I didn't really think it was going to be the highlight of the trip, but it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had a old guy there called Ned, and by like day 2 or 3, I think 2 or 3 days there, by the last day I was kind of like, Ned, do you want to jump in the rotation, because I really want to have a go at poling the skiff.
Oh yeah.
And that was hard.
Yeah.
Like big respect to the guys that are good on the poling platform, because it's not easy. So I got up there and I spent half of my day pretty much just fucking around trying to put him onto fish, and he loved it, and I had a good time. Yeah, but it was good. I'd go back in a heartbeat if I could afford it. But with gas prices going the way they are, I don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting dynamic in itself.
We'll see where that goes. Yeah. Far out.
Yeah.
Anybody want to buy a diesel truck?
Yeah. I can. Yeah. It's crazy to think that diesel costs more than petrol.
I know. I need to throw up at the pumps every time I fill up now.
Like, hey.
Yeah. That's the reason I bought that truck. Cheaper. It's going to be cheaper for gas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. No. But it's funny too, because it's like a lot of people that go into the outdoors, they need the diesel vehicles because they're fit for purpose. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, it's a bit...
Just can't afford to go out there.
No, I just can't afford to go out there and bloody do it. Yeah. Part of that too, like people that go out into the outdoors and back to that kind of like fish handling and, taking in the sort of the moments and where you are, no one appreciates it as much as like the people that actually do it, like the fishermen. And same with hunters, like with deer and stuff, and you get people that say this, that and the other about fishing and hunting that don't do it, but they don't actually understand that the people that do it care about those species more than the people that don't do it.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah,
I think for the most part.
I think you're probably right.
Obviously, where there is some, we talked about it there. The ones that don't want to.
There's an element.
There's an element that don't care either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they would still think that way if they did it or didn't do it. But there seems to be a lot of people that don't do it that seem to think that we're these like monsters that go out and catch fish or shoot a deer. But it's like we actually care about that species more because of what it provides to us and those sort of moments throughout
what
there.
you get out of it, hey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be up there with that. Just what I get back from those fish is so much more than I could, give back, I think.
Yeah, because it's more about the journey. Like for me personally,
as cliche as it sounds, it's true.
Yeah, when I go out for a hunt, it's not always about like shooting a deer. Like it's about being out there and
getting out there when it's dark, and then you watch the sun come up. You see some amazing sunrises, some cool sunsets.
Yeah.
Some awesome stuff.
And I often see deer and don't shoot them.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah.
Not that guy.
No. I'm just like, Nah, not
But then you
really.
sit there and you watch that deer do its
Yeah.
deery thing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
You actually
Yeah,
sit there and take the time and really watch them. It's amazing. Same with fish.
Yeah, there's different times when you go and you really want to shoot a deer because you need some meat, and it's the whole different, because you're thinking about the outcome.
Yeah.
It's a different process, but as soon as you sit back and go, well, like the fish with the funny jaw, you know?
Yeah.
As soon as you sit back and go, actually, I don't want to shoot you or don't want to catch you,
Yeah.
and you observe and watch, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And then you almost get to a point where you're like, oh, man,
I actually don't want to do
yeah,
this.
I don't want to. I don't know if I want to go and shoot another one either.
Yeah, I know. Hey,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
you get that little
I
bit of
wonder sometimes if I'll get to the point where I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to watch them.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know, yeah. I don't think I will because I love catching fish too much. But yeah, I definitely relate to what you say there.
Mm.
Yeah, like old Munty Jaw, there's no way. You couldn't have paid me to catch that fish.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Just-
I just like, no, I don't want to catch you, man. I don't want to spoil your day.
Yeah.
You know.
And he was eating off the top too, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh,
Which
it would have been a given. One good cast he would have eaten, 100%.
Yeah.
And then like later that night, by where I was camping, I had this kind of big backwater, and I was standing there in the rain eating my food, and there was a fish eating, just cruising around the backwater, just
Yeah.
and not one part of me wanted to catch him.
Oh, yeah.
No, just wanted to sit there and watch him. I was eating my food, he was eating his food.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Man.
That's it. And I got more out of not trying to catch that fish than I would have if I caught him. I would have put him back and gone, fuck. I feel a bit guilty about that. He was having a great time.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And I caught enough fish that day. That's cool. You know, I caught 5 or 6 fish that day. I was happy.
Yeah.
No need to do it. Just sit there and watch him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to hear you talk like that, you know, because it was interesting. Because then talking the other day, when we spoke with like Dion and Ben and that,
Yeah.
like Ben's mindset around the competition is just so different.
Yeah.
You know,
Gotta catch everything.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's what he, you know, that's what
That's
motivates
that's
him. It's
competition
that,
angling,
that,
right?
that
Yeah.
cracking the code.
Yeah.
That's what I sort of got out of listening to Ben, and a mate of mine, he's like that, and yeah, he's more of like, you could give me, I don't know, like the fishing we had today. I enjoyed that, even though it was a shorter day,
Yeah.
and caught less fish than what I did in the winter. I really enjoyed today more so because
Yeah.
of what it took to catch those fish.
The dynamic
Yeah,
of it.
and the amount of times I visually seen myself fail.
Yeah.
Where when you're winter fishing, there's so many casts you fail,
you
but you don't visually know.
See
You
it.
don't actually know there's a fish there.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
casting into a pool that you think there is, and then you get one, and then you carry on fishing. You're like, oh, there should be another one. And
Yeah, probably one in there somewhere.
and then you just sort of keep fishing. But when you can visually see them, and then you're like trying to get that fly in the right spot, then trying to get
Just
your mend
there.
at the right time, to then present it past, and then they turn it down, and you're like, oh.
Oh no.
And you do it again, and then you get another good cast. They turn it down, and then we change flies,
Yeah.
and then you do it again. And you do a couple of bad casts. And you're like, oh, and then you get that cast again. Then it eats.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like,
Oh fuck. Yeah, nice.
That's a way different
Yeah.
dynamic than
It's way more rewarding.
casting.
Just-
You know, it might have been casting 8 casts in the winter
Yeah.
for nothing, and then you hook one. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't. The whole not catching a fish and the process leading in is so different because you don't see it.
Yeah.
But when you see it, you're like,
Oh, it's just you're just another level in.
mm,
You know, it's like, oh, okay, cool,
Yeah.
okay. I know that fish saw that fly. So what was wrong? Was it the fly? Did I have some drag? You know, was it a depth or weight thing? Like, what was it? There's something about it. I know he saw it. There's no way he couldn't have seen that fly. So why didn't he look at it? You know, and then you start to like pick it to pieces and
Yeah.
kind of, you know, and that's that version of cracking the code.
yeah,
You know, that kind of stuff.
yeah. And then and then we had that one today where I did that cast, and that one just come flying out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight downstream out of the
downstream,
blue,
boom,
like,
yeah, I was like, what?
yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah. I was
yeah.
like, what? That's a fish. And I was like, where's it going?
Let
Like,
it go,
there's
let
my
it go.
fly. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, he came off though. That's all right.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It happens. You get that on the big jobs.
You do. You do. Yeah. What haven't we covered?
Probably a lot, to be
Yeah.
fair.
We've covered a lot.
Yeah,
but
I
we
don't
haven't
even
covered a
remember
lot.
what we've covered
Yeah.
and what we haven't covered. I mean, I guess what it comes down to is everyone fishes for a different reason, right? And I think the things that drive you when you start fishing, if you stick with it after 20 years, probably your reasons for driving you of fishing then are different to where you started. So I think you kind of, for me anyway, I can only talk for me, but as I've fished over the years, my reasons and my angling have kind of evolved. I used to just want to catch one fish, and then I caught one fish and want to catch a few fish, and then you start catching fish, you want to catch heaps of fish, and then I want to kind of catch maybe a big fish, then I want to catch heaps of big fish, and then you kind of want to catch maybe a big fish in a certain way, with a certain tactic in a certain place, and then I want to kind of target, so I think kind of as you go, you kind of go through and you kind of change what drives your angling, and then I'm kind of in a place now where it's more about the experience. I still want to catch fish, I still want to catch big fish in a certain way that I can see, but it's more about the experience as a whole than the actual fish. That's just a big part of it, but it's just a part of it. If I can put a big pack on my back and I can go somewhere that takes hard work to get to, that I feel like not many people go and find a nice fish that I can see in a beautiful place and potentially get him to eat a fly, and then finish the day around a campfire with a cigar and a whiskey, and then just kind of hang out poking a fire under the stars. I mean, that to me is way cooler than just rocking up to somewhere, getting out the car, catching 10 or 15 fish and going home. It doesn't. That's what does it for me now, is that kind of experience. As a whole.
It's cool how things evolve, eh? And people move with times, and even
experience.
Experience, even businesses or whatever. Like this place we're sitting here, and what this is now from what it was
down on the corner.
And then with that will bring its own set of challenges and more wall space. So then it's like, okay, what brands are we going to bring in? What fits with what we do? And who are we happy to promote? And who do we like working with? And it just adds a whole different dynamic.
What kind of vibe are we going for? We want to keep this same kind of friendly vibe, but then we kind of almost want to kind of push out bigger too. I think they've done a good job here, eh? Really
I do. I really like the whole layout of the store too.
The fact we're sitting on the couch in the middle of the shop floor, you can come in, you can grab a coffee, you can talk to the boys. They're not even about like trying to sell you shit. Just come in, hang out, talk some stuff, and then like while you're here, you might just kind of come across something that sweet, that's pretty cool. But you can also just come in and have a coffee and then carry on, go around town, and that's cool. It's just a good space to hang out.
It's cool that though, eh? Because I reckon when you get a place like this and you feel comfortable to come in and do that, when you actually do want something, you'll come here.
100%.
Because you'll be like, oh, I like those.
I like this guys.
I enjoy the environment. I like the people. I like the space. But when you sort of sometimes you go in somewhere and it's not just the fishing stuff, it's anything.
Anywhere,
and they push you. You're just like, oh.
As soon as you walk through the door, they're on you. You're just like, no, I'm out. I'm done. I don't need
it's
anything.
Like, oh yeah, sweet as. Do you need it? Nah, I'm just browsing.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. If anyone comes through Taupo, they should definitely come and see the new shop. It's awesome. And the boys are always happy to have a chat, help you out, all that kind of stuff. It's what you.
I almost walked out of here with another
with another recon.
It's a good rod.
It's a good rod. You definitely need two. You're gonna break one of them. I'll give you a good price.
The best price.
But they've done a good job. About it?
Yeah.
I think so. We can always do another one.
Oh, we can.
Yeah.
Easily.
That's right. If people like it.
Depends what mood we're into, it'll be completely different.
Oh, 100%.
I actually learnt that. I'll actually make sure this is on the podcast too, if people listen this long, but I did a podcast with a guy, Ben Townley, he's actually from Taupo, professional motocross rider, and it was awesome. And then it was in it was my second episode actually, or it would have been the second episode, and I stuffed up when I did the editing, and I did something and I did it in 1.5 times speed so I could edit it quicker, or just listen through it quicker.
Oh yeah.
But what I did is I somehow saved it at that speed.
Oh no!
And you can't just put it.
You couldn't
back
undo it.
Nah, you put it back and it goes all like echoey and like it was real weird. And I was
gutted.
like, oh, and it was a 3.5 hour podcast, and because we're good friends, so I knew a lot of, and he had like an amazing career and a lot of detail to get over, and it was awesome. And I was just like, oh, I can't wait to share this, and then I couldn't, and then I sent it to an audio technician, and then they tried to fix it, but then they got it to a point where you could listen to it, but it had this like echo, and I was like, you can't listen to 3.5 hours of that.
Echo, no.
So then I was like,
gutted.
So I said, we'll do it again, and it was so interesting with all the same topics. It was completely different.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. It was like,
Still
don't
good.
get me wrong, like, and the listeners listening they would have, if they've listened to
They'll
it,
know the
they'll
one.
know they'll know the one, and they'll know it was good. But it's amazing that depending on the day that I got him, how different he was.
Yeah.
It's the same dude. Like it was like 5 weeks apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just the same topics we talked about. Yeah, the exact same things, but just his different perception of how he portrayed those moments.
I guess that could be the same for anyone, right? So you have an interaction with someone on the street.
Yeah.
Well, could be completely different depending on what kind of morning they've had, right?
Mm.
If they had a great morning, some good news, and they were in a great mood, it would be a completely different interaction than if they had got up, had an argument with the missus, got fired, car broke down on the way into town, and then you bump into them. Same person, but just just completely different moods, like you say, headspaces, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's
I always think about that in terms of not judge. We spoke about it earlier today, but not judging people, because you never know what has led to that situation.
You don't know the story there. Nah. It's hard though, because we are on the face of it, and I'm the same. I'm guilty of it too. But someone walks in through that door now, you'll make a decision, or you'll kind of make your mind up about them in about 3 seconds, based on what clothes they're wearing, what they look like, if they have kind of tattoos they have, or just instantly on a physical thing, and you know nothing about them, and you'll kind of okay, I know what this guy's all about. No, you don't. Yeah. And I'm bad for it too. Yeah. I try and be better about it.
Yeah.
But it's if somebody walks in with a full face tattoo, you're probably all kind of thinking whoa, look at this guy, man, danger.
Yeah.
Could be the most lovely person in the world, eh? Yeah. You just don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It's funny how tattoos have, even that in itself has changed. 20 years ago, or 25 years ago, if you had a tattoo, you're a badass.
You're a bad person, probably. Yeah.
And then now it's everyone.
It's kind of art and kind of trendy and that kind of thing. It's interesting. I got this part of my tattoo that comes down my arm. The reason I got it stopped here at my wrist was so that if I wanted to, I can pull a long sleeve shirt down, and no one would know I have a tattoo. Yeah. But what I actually want to do, and I'm probably going to do it pretty soon actually, is I want to get it extended onto the back of my hand. Yeah. And I want it to come above my collar line, just sneaking up onto my neck a little bit. Yeah. But again, I had it stopped there just in case I needed to just cover it up because of what people might think. And I'm at the point now where I'm I actually don't care. Yeah, no. Really don't care. Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably not going to go and work in an office ever. So really, what does it matter? No.
And then even if you did work in an office, what does it matter?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, you can't do nothing now. But there was a time where,
oh, you would never have got a job.
No, God no. The man's got tattoos. Yeah. Good Lord. I was going to ask you, what are the numbers on your hand?
So that's my Waikato number.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the 1006th player. So that's on my left hand. That played for Waikato. And then this one is my Thames Valley number, which I got this year. Interesting that I did, because I played for a number of teams, and my wife actually asked me, she's like, "Are you going to get your Thames Valley number when you've been like a Māori All Black, played, All Black Sevens,
Oh, yeah.
the Chiefs and all of that. And I was like, yeah, because that's the team my dad played for.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's different,
Yeah.
Like Waikato to me has always been my team. That's the first professional team I ever played for. I grew up wanting to play for that team.
Yeah,
That
okay.
was who I admired when I was a kid, and then so I'm really proud of the fact that I did that, and I thought that would be kind of a cool
one to have.
one to have. Yeah, and then when I played for Thames Valley, well, actually, like last year I was meant to play, couldn't, so got injured, and I said to the boys, because they saw my other number, same thing, asked about it, what it was, I explained, and they're like, oh, because Thames Valley, they've never publicly kept a record of player numbers. They released it this year in their 100th year.
Oh, wow.
So then all the boys are like, oh, we get our numbers next year.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, well, if I play and I get a number, I'm going to get it done. And then the boys are like, oh, yeah, well, I'm keen to do it. So, yeah, was it last week or the week before? I went in and just got it done.
I thought it looked pretty fresh.
Yeah. So I just went in and just did it. I had a spare moment. I rocked into where I got that one done.
Yeah.
And they actually touched that up as well. And then I just walked in and they were like, oh, yeah. And I said, oh, any chance we could, like, and he goes, oh, yeah, come back in like 20 minutes. So,
Oh, yeah, cool.
yeah, I rocked off, got a coffee, rolled back in, and yeah, did it. And then we have like a group WhatsApp for the team. And I just posted it up, and then all the boys are like, where'd you get that done?
Yeah.
And then, so they're all gonna, because they all obviously don't live, a few of them live in Hamilton, but not many. Most of them will live away, but they're gonna actually all come down and do it all together.
From the same place.
Yeah.
Wicked.
So all get the same font, the same size, and yeah, so that'd be quite cool.
Yeah, that's very cool, man. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I went to I'm coaching a high school team, and I went to training after later that day, and they're like, "Sir, can you count to 4?" And I'm like, what? And then because my number's 1, 2, 3, 5, yeah. And then I was just like, and they're like, "What's that for?" And then I explained to them, like, "Oh, that's cool." Yeah, but actually, good. The guy that I got my Waikato number with, there's a guy Quinta Pai, is like All Black now, so his older brother is the number before me in my Thames Valley one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's gonna get his one done. He's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So it's funny how the universe works.
Isn't
sometimes.
it? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And kind of cool how like tattoos can have like just meanings for the person that has the tattoo.
Yeah.
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 It's not just some numbers on a hand, man. It's got a story behind it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And it's kind of I quite like when people ask.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm proud of it.
Proud
you know?
of it. Yeah.
So it's cool to be able to share that sort of story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One of the guys actually in the Thames Valley team's got one around his calf, goes right the way around, and I was kind of looking at it because I was like, that looks like it's got a story to it. It's got trees and it's a little shack, and you know, it's a really good tattoo. And I was like looking at it, and I was like, what does your tattoo mean? It's got to be something. And he's like, oh, it's a photo from my granddad's house.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, on their family land, and that's a little shack that he grew up in.
That's a cool thing to do.
So, and
I
I was
like that.
they've done a really good job of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. But from a distance, it just almost looks like a bit of a black band around his leg. But once you get close, you can see it. It's pretty cool.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Real sentimental meaning to him.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That's what it's about. Yeah. Yeah, I said I wouldn't get any more, but I think I'll get this extended a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll do that at some point.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That might be.
Could be us. Cool, man. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's really cool to. Well, thanks for taking me fishing to
man.
start with.
It was good fun. I
That was
enjoyed
cool.
it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, sweet. I was hoping I'd get the invite back.
Anytime, man. Yeah. I'm out every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do some
know a guy
fishing.
that
I do
goes
some fishing.
sometimes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got summer coming, man. So just all the good stuff coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep hearing. Well, just going off today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to see the fish start coming
Yeah.
up off.
Oh,
feeding off
yeah.
the top.
Yeah. I mean, it's already happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been rising a bit in the Tongariro, in the evenings.
Yeah, I mean, they've been even rise, but I mean, like, you know, even just getting a little bit further afield, you know, you'll find them under the surface. Old Munty Jaw, you know, he was chomping away, you know, happy as. Yeah. As was the guy by my lake. You know, I had a couple of eats off the top that same day from different fish, you know, like, they're there. Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be pretty exciting.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. We'll make that happen.
Cool.
You got to christen your 5-weight recon too.
I do. Yeah.
8'6". I'm quite keen to see that.
Yeah. We'll pull it out. It's in the truck.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, man.
Awesome.
Nice one. Until next time, buddy.
Until next time.
Yeah. Look forward to it.
Cheers.